Hey, good evening to all of you. Thank you all for coming to this wonderful, cozy conference room that is provided by our host, Ms. Divya Chandradara. And thank you so much. And your IBioM is ever grateful. She's a trustee of IBioM, but we're ever grateful that this is where it actually took its birth, right? And then from here, we are trying to grow, and hopefully with your help and support, we can grow even further. We just want to be another platform to really handhold where possible, or identify others who can handhold startups and grow the ecosystem so that you all are successful. So thanks to Mithun and Shiv and Mr. Ishwaran coming all the way from Electronic City to this beautiful part of Bangalore. So thank you so much. I don't know what else to do. Next time we will try and hold. Next time or the next to next time we'll try and hold in your part of the city. So okay. So anyway, thanks to Divya, and this is our 41st IBioM. It all started as BBS. She's going to give some introduction what BBS is about, how we got evolved into IBioM, and then we will move on from there. And I'm also very happy that we have got two true academicians here, in Professor Dipankar Nandi, Professor of Immunology in the Department of Biological Sciences, Biochemistry in IISc, and then Dr. Bindu S., who is a former head of the department of biotechnology in MSRIT. Okay, and she has brought a student, not student anymore, she's Dr. Vijayalakshmi. And because we want to use this platform also to promote potential employees and bring them closer to employers, so that they can, and so every time we have a chance, I mean, you can go through CV 100 times, but nothing like having a live interaction with you. We'll give you minutes later, once you feel more comfortable, so you can showcase yourself, what you're capable of, and hopefully there will be some angel employer here who can hire you. And also you will hear from, maybe from Shekhar, about how you sort of enroll into their platform. But they've got a fantastic reach to lakhs of students and faculty members, and they can also connect you to that. Okay, so hi, come Deepti, come in. And so this is the 41st meeting. 40th meeting was held in New Delhi. So that was because Genotypic was conducting Genomics India conference in Delhi area. So we had that meeting. You want some arrangement? No, it's fine. Okay. Deepti, come in. You can come in here. I can stand around, conduct. Okay. So, and then 40th was held in New Delhi. 41st is the 41st one. 42nd, we requested MSRIT, Dr. Bindu. She has agreed to do so. But it cannot be late in the evening because,
because we work 6 days a week. So our students mostly will not be available beyond 1. So if that's okay with you all to have it a little early, then maybe.
What about on a Friday?
Friday is perfectly okay.
Around 4 o'clock onwards?
4 to 7.
Yeah, 4 to 7.
Yeah, but the only thing is we wouldn't be having any students. It would just be us.
That's fine. If some students, if you promote properly to students, some of them may come.
But if we could have it a couple of hours earlier, then our students would be benefited. Our college would be looking forward to that.
Okay.
Especially our principal is the person who has to permit. And if students are benefited, then he'd be like, okay.
So would you say about 2 p.m., 3 p.m.? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll organize that. So it's going to be on the third, Shekhar, it's going to be on the third Saturday or Friday. Friday is better, right?
Yeah. Friday is okay. And Saturday also, the first half.
Okay. All right.
Maybe even up to 2 or 2:30 is also okay.
Only thing is, they all run companies and they're so busy and they have to.
I really apologize for that.
They're self-employed and then
institutes also have their own schedule. See, we all faculty would be happy to wait, but then you know how students are. They're not going to wait. So
let's look forward to that meeting in the month of June. And in the month of July, Shekhar has offered his place in HSR layout. Okay, so you don't have to travel that much. Closer. So we need to travel. So thank you, Shekhar. And then we look forward to other people hosting as well. So maybe we'll come to Dharwad once. Hire a bus.
Very welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be nice. Once you hear that, and then we'll go.
Right? Yeah. Probably you can
Stand here. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming to our office. First, let me introduce myself for people who don't know me. Myself, Divya. I'm the founder of and CEO of BioGel Therapeutics, the company where all of you are sitting in. And I'm also, importantly, one of the co-founders and also treasurer of IBioM, which we have been running since almost 5 years, along with Dr. Jagdish, Dr. Raja, and others, and newly added Shekhar Suman as well. So we have a new face for IBioM as well as trustees. And Varsha and few others are busy with other things. They could not join. I'll just give you a brief about how we started and what all things we have done. Maybe we can go to first page. Yeah. Basically, IBioM started like me and Dr. Raja were in a discussion to have a consortium for all the startup companies which is in North Bangalore. The first meeting was held here where Dr. Vijay Chanda, I think from Strands Life Science, he sponsored the first meeting of IBioM. That time it was not IBioM, it's called BBS, Bangalore Biotech company startup. This was when we did the official registration. We were just running unofficially for about 2 years, just the WhatsApp group. That WhatsApp group had almost 250 people, all are startup companies, right from, even it included some companies from Tamil Nadu as well, but most of them were all Bangalore based, South Bangalore, North Bangalore, all those. This was when officially we got registered, maybe I think around 2021. It's like 2022, 21. Yeah, we launched it. Where Dr. Chandra was also there, but he has moved on with, he had some other commitments. Dr. Raja, Dr. Miturji, and Lakshmi, and Naveen, Palani Muttu, they were all the team members at that time. And newly added Shekhar is also there. At that time, we were just a WhatsApp group, talking, meeting, doing networking, helping people. Now we officially turned out to a consortium where as a trust, even many of our trustees here are the part of Karnataka government vision group. You know how important is a vision group. They involved in the recently biotech policy making. Even I was also part of one of the meetings. So it's very easy as a consortium to connect to governments, maybe to, if you have some hurdles, regulatory hurdles or challenges from the government or any other things. If we are connected well, we can help all the members who are associated with IBioM also was one of our intentions. So we moved on to our official association. Next slide. These are our team. We have Dr. Mishtuji. He's been very nicely, professionally handling our entire IBioM meetings, and he's always present. It's very rarely he's been absent, and he takes most of the responsibility of leading the things along with Raja. We are very proud.
I don't have the trouble of running a company.
Yeah.
I'm a freelancer, so
no, he don't. Yeah, so he takes all the stress because he don't have a stress of having a company. So, but he has worked. He has a rich experience of working with startups because he was one of the directors in the KBITS, handling major responsibility, and he knows in and out of the government things, policies. So that he came out as the biggest strength for IBioM. Having him as a president is our pride. And Dr. Raja, he's just opposite, our neighbor, opposite to us, genotypic. He has been in the industry since 30 years maybe. And he's also having rich experience and connects worldwide. And I have seen during COVID time, Raja has been helping many of people in the IBioM groups for selling their kits, taking their reagents, instruments, equipments. He has helped a lot of people. And many of people have not come up and told, but they have got used of this IBioM and made crores of money, is what I know. And myself, I already told. And Mr. Naveen Kulkarni, he was not feeling well, or he was busy with some things, he could not join. He was also part, right from day one, he was also part of IBioM. He has been helping in strategizing as a secretary. And Palani Muttu, he's taking care of more of Tamil Nadu chapter. He's based in Tamil Nadu, basically. He also tries to come whenever possible. Today he's not there. And Harikaran is taking care of our Delhi chapter. And Dr. Manish Paul, he's also recently, it's been 1 year since he has been a trustee. And he is one of the biggest feather on the cap is Dr. Manish Paul gave the first molecule who went to the phase 1 in India. He was the first in that microbial region. That is one of, and Dr. Varsha Sridhar, she's also one of our trustee. She's not there today. Go for next. Shekhar Suman, everybody know already, and he's running Biotechnica. And during my college days, I have heard about Biotechnica. I'm not telling you're old or something. You started young, I mean to say. No, he started young is what I am telling, and he has been known in all the industry, and he has been generously helping IBioM is for marketing, networking, and putting streamlining the IBioM. Lot of contribution, and thank you so much, Shekhar. We are so happy to have you. You brought a different image to IBioM after you joining. Yeah, and why IBioM? So many people will be asking, what is the use of IBioM? What is the use of joining? Startup stage, if they have to scale up, what kind of support they require. We if you approach any of our trustees, we have the right contact, right people, right suggestion. And even as a trustee, like as a consortium, we are exhibiting in the many of the exhibitions which has been Karnataka government or in central government sponsored exhibition. We get subsidized rates for the stalls exclusively for IBioM members. So there are a lot of benefits, other than just networking, also a lot of benefits being a part of an IBioM membership. This is all about our team members. You can go to next.
Going back to the question that Dr. Bindo asked, how is it different from ABLE? You want to say it at this stage, or you want to leave it for later? You can say it at this stage.
ABLE was started long ago by Dr. Kiran Madhum Shah and the team. They're also doing something similar, but they've already upgraded, and how can I say, they've already scaled up. We are in the startup stage. They have also been helping a lot of startup companies. But what advantage you find here? We are more approachable. You cannot go to Dr. Kiran Majumdar Shah and ask, I have some problem, can you please help me? But whereas you can approach Dr. Miturji, you can approach Dr. Raja, you can approach me. And ABLE has been, why ABLE has been doing, and they have been organizing a lot of bigger conferences within collaboration with the Karnataka government. And we have just started in, now we have got a place in those conferences for exclusively IBioM Pavilion. In future, we are also scaling up in that way, because many of our, among our trustees, almost 2 to 3 people are there in the vision group already. So our verge is going to that. We are not competing each other. We were trying to complement each other. We can add on.
Yeah, I'd like to add. So in one sentence, ABLE is more like a 5-star hotel. We are sort of Darshanis. So that may explain.
Depends on their taste.
Darshanis or Ayodhya, Upahar, right? Things like that. So because in 2015 is when Karnataka government first released the startup policy. 2016 is government of India released the startup policy. So we were 1 year ahead of the rest of the country. And then the number of startups just went astronomically. But a lot of the young people, okay, some of them are probably here or in the group anyway, but they didn't know where to go, what to do, and all that. So we just wanted to be a platform where anyone can walk in. And the gopis, the early ones who would come to IBioM, who would come to Raja to talk to him, to get his advice and things like that. There are many, many other people like that. So we are more, like she said, I'm not saying you cannot approach ABLE, and there are people, but most of them are very high. Also outside, they can easily go through DBT or through Biotech to go speak to PMO's office, I think. But we are not there yet. I'm not saying we cannot do it. We can do it as we go further. But we need to have accomplished some, policy changes or something we could have done at the government, at the Karnataka government level. Then we can go maybe, So at least now we made an entry into a Karnataka government department, IT and DG. I was there before, as you know. And now Naveen Kulkarni is a vision group member. Manish Paul and Neil and Divya, they get invited for their vision group meetings and special meetings. And now recently they've added Mr. Priyank Kharge, who's the minister, is added a few of us through the office, through the department, into the Skill Council Consortium. So hopefully one of the reasons we organize this meeting is to hear from you, from the panelists, to say what skills do we require going forward. Okay, so that we can, through IBioM as a formal submission, we can give it to the department saying that these are the skills, we have them now, but we will not have them next year or 5 years from now. Why should we wait until, Stricker will probably say that, why should we wait until America puts out the skills, then we copy them? They could be skills that are relevant to most of us. So we made an entry into Karnataka government. Hopefully soon we'll also make an entry into government of India. So
adding on to that, like recently in the policy making things, lot of points even we also added, like the lot of things lacked in the skill development region. So where we can also be part of it. So lot of points which we have discussed and we have come up with, even they have included as they have taken our suggestions too. This is where we are slowly moving ahead. It will take some time. So these are some of the challenges where the startup companies or MSMEs groups will face. Usually it's like a funding problem. We are all planning to have an investor meet where we'll be having a top investors and startup companies who are looking forward for investment. There's one program we are planning. This may help a lot of startups. There are a lot of startups with good ideologies. They may not know how to reach investors, who will be the investors. So this is the investors meeting which we are planning, where all the members can be a part of that thing. So in this way, we were trying to help the startup group. Like so many companies, as I already told, they're in the startup stage, they want to scale up. Any kind of guidance or any kind of help they require, we are always there. And for example, many companies in the group, many company startup founders message in the group, they are looking forward for some instruments urgently. Dr. Raja immediately arranges some instrument from somewhere else and sends to them. Like anything like that. This is not the bigger consortium things, they cannot do it. We are like quite handy. Any small help or bigger help wherever we are possible. For example, for me, I was going for a US trip. I wanted few US companies connects to be made. I took his help where he had few network. So this is, we can't tell this is a way they help, this guy got this much money. This is somewhere it will help for all of us. And any logistic related and assistance in customs and regulatory is the important things. Smaller companies, they don't have a customs or a regulatory department separately, but we can assist some of the companies who already have them. They can assist people who already without charging anything. So this is a kind of guidance and pushing which we are giving to the startup companies. These are as this is the 41st meeting, these are the few themes which we had already discussed before, like startup to scale up, role of IPN. And previously, one of our meeting, we had a KS officer, Paranika, also involved in the meeting. And we have the current competent of the MP, your friend, who is it? Rajiv Gowda. Rajiv Gowda. We are all the prominent members. Like if you in future, if you want anything closely done with the KS officer or the ex-MP or something, you get approached with all those things if you're being a part of the meeting. These are the many meetings we had unlocking the opportunity of healthcare startups and doctors collaborate on diagnostics and treatment. And BBS 4th birthday, we had one meeting, and about human 3D cultures. Like these are different topics we have been covering. These
was these photographs of the meeting that Dipankar posted us in IAC.
No, I think only the
First one.
all of them.
No.
Oh,
the top
top first one.
Yeah.
This is what the Rajiv Gowda said. Yeah.
So Ganesh Kishore from the US was visiting, and then former IAC student, and now a very highly accomplished man, also a VC person. So he gave a very good talk, and thanks to Dipankar for that. Yeah, and a few other meetings.
She's Parinika, the ITBT.
IKP in,
yes, IKP.
Okay.
So more things are coming in the pipeline. Before ending up, this is the most important thing for all of us to survive. There are a few stages where you can fund and help us to help the startups. Basically, if you're an early stage enterprise, you can fund of 10,000 rupees, and micro enterprises 20,000. And companies like Raja's company, they've all donated enough. 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs. He has personally donated from his company to IBioM without any intention to help many of the startups. Like that, we are getting a lot of donations from different companies. So at your proximity, whatever possible, you can definitely donate.
As a not-for-profit organization, we do depend on membership and membership coming in. And people who have benefited from IBioM platform, they could think there is no compulsion here, but they could. Basically, we run a secretariat of one person, Skandan Easy, recently joined.
Yeah.
It's just one person. He's the only employee we have. The rest of us are honorary. So for Secretariat to really grow, we need help from people, and hopefully that will happen. But so far, thanks to Raja and Manish and Divya for giving us this facility here that we are managing. But we need to grow further. We have to travel to Delhi, then we need airfare, that type of thing. But I'm not requesting here. I'm just saying. So basically, membership will help us to go through.
Yes. Last time we had our meeting in IBioM meeting in Delhi, 40th meeting in Delhi. So we are planning to expand pan India. So currently we are Bangalore only and Tamil Nadu little bit. So we are planning to expand more, so that we all need your support as well. And definitely we are there for you to support if any of the things is required in future.
Okay.
That's it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Dipankar has a huge responsibility of organizing a conference called Immunocon. I think it's going to bring a lot of credit to Karnataka and to IAC, to Bangalore, and then he's here to promote that conference with a very short talk. Sorry.
So good evening, everyone. First, let me thank Divya, Jagdish, and others for inviting me for this talk. What I will do is I'll tell you a little bit about Immunocon and the reasons for me to be here. Immunocon is actually the annual meeting of the Indian Immunology Society. And it will be held in IISc from 17th to 20th October. And the society has been around for about 50 years. So last year we had the meeting in AIMS Delhi, and that is where it had its birth. So the person who started the society is Professor Talwar, and he will also be coming here. He's about 94, 90, I'm not sure, 94, 98 years old, but he will be coming, and he's really enthusiastic about coming. But in Bangalore, the last time we had it was in 2009. But as far as IISc is concerned, the last time we had it was January 1993. So it's been a long while since we have organized this. So we are all trying to make sure that it's held, and it's held in a proper way. Okay, so one of the things what we have done is to reach out to different departments, different individuals, and in this connection, I sort of reached out to Jagdish, because I knew Jagdish had a big reach with startups and all, and I felt since it's being held in IISc, it's being held in Bangalore, other people should also take advantage of it, because this level of a conference is not easy to develop and for us to get, because you will see that there are a large number of international speakers, very accomplished, well-known scientists, as well as people from all over India who will be coming for this. I'm sorry?
You have a Nobel laureate?
Yes. So he will start the meeting off on 17th. So I reached out to Jagdish, and then over here, in fact, we met Shekhar, and Shekhar is now our media partner. So it's a good opportunity for everyone to showcase their way. So the other thing is, please ask questions or clarifications during the presentation. Okay, so let me get to the theme. Theme is newer beginnings in immunological munificence, and the idea is, 50 years. We have done whatever we could. So it's a new beginning. So it's like taking fresh guard, as they say in cricketing parlance, right? And plus, by now, in India, there's quite a large repertoire and large number of laboratories working in immunology. So might as well take, involve them. And a lot of the speakers are going to be young, young people who are doing well. So that was the idea behind the theme. Yes.
It's a new word from
yes. Yeah, I didn't want to bring in Shashi Tharoor, but one of the ideas was, it's like a munificence, means a lot of stuff, a lot of things, a large amount. So so that was the idea. So so the other, so I've been taking help of different people. So this is the logo.
Dr. Mittur has been really bold asking what is that? What
No, that's why. See, one of the reasons that's why I started off by saying, please ask questions. Right. So there were a lot of questions also about the logo, including among immunologists. Because what this represents, it's an antibody molecule, and an antibody molecule should be specific, but you can see that the specificities are different. It's deliberate because what this represents is what is known as a bispecific antibody. So it was just a bispecific antibody with the IST symbol on top. Then again, I've been taking help of different people. And one BC alumni, biochemistry alumni from the US, told me that you should put what is a knob and a hole out here, because that sort of strengthens it. He's working on bispecific antibodies, so we put that in just to give it a twist, and it confuses some people, but it's just to give it a little bit. Make it look a little bit different. So that's the general idea.
It's like a mirror image of the tower.
Yeah, well, that I did not think about, but yeah, sure. Yeah. So, okay. I have arranged meetings, but I am, but things have moved on, and these days you have to do a lot of online transfers and all, and I felt I needed help with some of this. So what we did is, again, through some friends, we got in touch with Travel Experiences Journey. So they are, again, a very small group. So they are helping me as event managers in this meeting. And it turns out that this was again during COVID, that Kanwaljit Singh, who is one of the partners, owns a restaurant, Amma's Legacy. And it's a very good, it serves vegetarian Punjabi food. We've been there, it's an excellent one. But, as part, they also do the event management. So they are, again, a very small group which they're helping me. And one of the first things that we needed to do was to get a website going. So again, they started off with that. And again, as I said, I didn't know a whole lot of people. So that's people. So they subcontracted it to somebody else. And so, that group has been working on the website, and luckily it's now live. And we had to coordinate with them as well as with IISc, because IISc is handling all the payment, the payment portal. So that part's taken care of, and luckily it's live right now. So this is the poster. Again, a little wordy, but there's a long list of people who will be speaking, people from abroad and also from India. So I'm happy to share the poster, but the website is live, so you could take a look at that. All right. So we run a very tight ship. There are no employees that we can afford, and so this is Sirisha, who works in my lab on a project. So she's, we got a computer and a printer, and so she processes.
Sirisha's face at least.
Yeah, well, she did not want. So that's why I've taken it from the back. So she's working on processing a bill. So you will see that we have taken help of laboratory students in the lab. And people who also work and who also do this. So we've got a good support from all, but there will be other pictures where you will see. And initially, again, there was no money, so we had to, the snacks and all were taken from, whatever we had from our grants and all. So, that has worked out well. So this is, again, these are students. So one of the good things that we have a lot of students, and so they have been associated with us. And I particularly like this picture because our initial idea was, or at least my idea, and often my ideas are mostly wrong, that we would have a small meeting. and we would have it in faculty hall, and you don't have to pay for the faculty hall, and it has about 250 people, and so I thought that was my idea. So then, I had to get a group of students together to help, and this is the group, some from my lab, some from other labs, and all of them said, no, it's going to be held in IISc, it's going to be much bigger than 250. You need a bigger place. So once the students said it, I had to take it a little bit seriously. So then what we did is we moved the venue to the JN Tata Auditorium, which is much bigger, which can take in about 800, students, 800 participants. Meanwhile, what was happening is in the faculty hall, you could have only one session. So the number of speakers were, limited. And while I was making up that list of speakers, I was under pressure from other people because everybody, it would seem, wanted to speak at the meeting. And I was thinking that, look, as in my mind, I was thinking, hey, you spoke in the last year. They said, no, we want to speak in IISc. So it really spread. It's almost like arranging a family wedding where everybody wants to come in and you want to restrict it, but it goes beyond your control. So I had to. So this has been really good. We've had to pay a lot of money to the Tata Auditorium, but it's worth it because at least all the facilities are there and everyone will be very comfortable over there, as I said. So this is particular in there because once they said it, because they are more in touch, with a lot of things. So I had to take it seriously. Okay, so the main meeting, as I said, is from 17th to 20th October, right? 17th to 20th October. No, I'm coming to it. Yeah, but there are some pre-meeting events also. 14th to 15th October, we have a continuing medical education program. So that will be held in Nimhans, and Professor Shripad Patil is in charge of that. On 16th, we have a flow cytometry workshop, and that I think will be very useful for students especially. And this will be held at the Department of Biochemistry, and all you have to do is write to Keshav, and he will, register you. And there's really a small charge for that. And so, certainly most students should take advantage of that. So 17th to 19th, we'll have it at the JN Tata Auditorium. And then we'll move to the 20th, on 20th to the faculty hall, because by that time, the crowd will be a lot less. So all these bookings have been done now, and so we are somewhat set. So to showcase the Kannada culture as well as food, we have on 17th October a Yakshagana program that we have arranged. And then the welcome dinner will be a Kannada spread. So that's the general idea. 18th October is the GBM. So that's for members of the Indian Immunology Society. On 19th October, we have a gala dinner at the Lalit. And we've decided on the Lalit. I'll tell you a little bit about it. And on 20th October, we'll have lunch at the main guest house. So that's the general. So this is when, along with Mr. Datta from Tej and some of my students, we visited Lalit and we sort of finalized it. So originally, our idea was to have, a little bit of disco and dancing out over here. But in the Lalit, we found out that you have a Gandhi Memorial out there. And I thought that disco dancing in front of Gandhi Memorial didn't exactly go very well. So we quietly, we just felt, it would not be, it didn't, sound right. So we have quietly, dropped the disco dancing bit, but we will have it over here because it's really nice. It's very spacious, very beautiful ambience. I just hope it doesn't rain on that day, because in Bangalore, October, it may rain, in which case we will have to move to an internal hall. But otherwise, it's a very nice place. And because it's one of the older hotels, they have a lot of space. And space in Bangalore now is, is a premium. So yeah, okay. So this is just to give you an idea about, speakers from abroad, and the speakers are from the US, Europe, Australia, UK, very global. And again, speakers from from India are, from all over, right from Bombay to Shillong, and from Kashmir to Shiv is part of. So this is So this was again. Oh, Hamza is coming. Hamza is coming. I heard Hamza's talk in Baroda one, and then I asked him to come because he gave a very nice talk.
Yes.
So
right on the fourth, top line fourth. Big sweater.
Yeah. That's right. That's Hamza. Yeah. So anyway, so this photo is again important because it tells you what a lot of young people, and you will see good representation around. I'll come to that again a little bit later. So anyway, we are the lab is coordinating it, and I've had to work. I'm working almost 24/7 to take care of all this, and we don't have anyone. It's just the lab. So what are our source of funds? Government sources, which we are applying, companies for sponsorship, as well as registration. I applied to the company of biologists, and they are also a group that publishes Journal of Cell Sciences and so on. And one of the requirements mainly were three of them, and I thought I would just share it with you all. First is whether there are sufficient number of women speakers, and one of the ideas was to show the previous one was that we are making sure ensuring that part. Second is outreach, and we need to ensure both offline and online modes so that other people can take advantage of whatever is being said. And the third part is, and we need to ensure that it's environment friendly. So we need to reduce the number of plastic bottles, find out how food can be recycled, the waste and so on. So I am in touch with an agency that will also take care of these aspects.
We're taking care of the online.
Yes, that's correct. That's absolutely correct. So this was the first meeting of the local organizing committee. And so, again, I've tried to reach out to different people, different departments and their labs and students. And so this is, so we had one on 3rd May. And so we welcome you to join us, and thank you all.
So, IBioM can help you apart from what we've done already.
Right. So I think reaching out is the most important thing. So in fact, the other day I got an email from a person saying that, look, the sponsorship charges for industry is very high. So can you reduce it? So then I had to think of some way by which we could reduce it and make it. And so he wanted some sort of a reduction for startups. So within the categories, different categories that we have.
So if we need to further promote this, some of the members of our organization, we probably have to take this.
Yes. I think that's one aspect. And I think if you reach out, and send me an email or something, I'll try and work something out. That might be mutually beneficial. In fact, that's what I did with this particular person. Yeah. So I think. So I think it's a good opportunity, and everyone should take advantage of it as much. And it's right here, and it's going to be difficult to. It's not easy to have such a get together again. So people should take advantage of it as much as possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, but if there are questions, you can write to me. It's not a problem, and then Thank you.
Also wanted to welcome Mr. Vijay Sima from Atria University. He is the Dean of Academics, and we are in the process of working with them through some sort of an MOU. Hopefully, we already exchanged 2 drafts, and then because we want IBioM to be connected, on one side startups and big companies, on the other side academia. I'm glad that he is here at Atria University, and hopefully sometime we'll work out something with MSRIT as well in the vicinity for us. So hopefully there will be a lot of things that we can mutually benefit from. And once such thing is, before Muthu comes here, Muthu is here. You can come and set up your thing. In the meantime, I'd like to give an opportunity to Dr. Bindu's student, Vijayalakshmi, who is a PhD graduate recently. For her to, IBioM also provides opportunities for young people to come and showcase themselves, their background, their capacity. So hopefully someone will be able to find you suitable for their job position. So 5 minutes only, okay? All right, that's a test. Go on. Yeah. Oh, one second. Just put this inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bindu is going live, so many people online also can see her. No, shake it.
Yeah, not sure.
She's not
Vijay.
Bindu. I'm Vijay. I'm wondering, okay, my student.
Your student is going live.
Shall I start? Okay. Before I introduce myself, I thank Dr. Mithur and IBioM for giving me an opportunity to speak over here and showcase my expertise in the biotechnology field. My name is Vijay Lakshmi, and I'm from Ramaya Institute of Technology. My educational background is I am BE Biotechnology from Siddhaganga Institute of Technology, Tumkur, with a gold medal. And I'm MTech Biotechnology at Ramaya Institute of Technology. And I finished my PhD last year, 2023, in biotechnology under Dr. Bindu. And my PhD title was on in vitro studies of testing the toxicity of carbon nanotubes on the neuronal cell lines. Along with my PhD work, I've also been associated with other projects in the group. One of them is we are studying the Canada albicans and tropicalis, Canada species biofilms, and its control using natural spice extracts or natural plant extracts. So that is one of the projects. One more consultancy project which I was assisting in was flow cytometry based immunophenotyping of blood cells of COVID patients. So then we had one more consultancy project in which we did microbiological tests. The flow cytometer was in association with Beckman Coulter Private Limited, and the microbiological as testing we did on a UVGI equipment for Bell, that is Bharat Electronics Private Limited. So far I have 9 international publications in peer-reviewed journals, 5 conference publications, 3 abstract publications, and 3 book chapters. I have also guided many students, like more than 65 BE, MTech, as well as PhD students, attended multiple conferences, assisted in organizing many conferences in our institute. And I think, yeah, overall, yeah, right now, I've also availed multiple scholarships and grants. Scholarships from TechWhip Alumni Association of MSRIT, and I had got a grant from Institution of Engineers, India, in 2019-20, and also right now I've got a grant from DST on Women Scientist Scheme which is, so the project is development of PLA chitosin scaffold for neuronal regeneration. So that is an ongoing project right now. So, and yeah, so overall this is the, and I'm seeking a job opportunity now. So wherever, so I'm expertised in microbiology and cell culture techniques and microscopy, flow cytometry, and so overall, this is.
Do you want to say I'm an easygoing person and team worker and all that?
Oh, yes, of course.
You've got to mention that. As a
Yes.
speaker, already first time I've seen you,
Yeah.
an easygoing person.
No,
Yes.
smiling face is very positive. Okay, think of for your company.
Already you have job, no? You are
It's just it's a temporary DST project, so which is almost like getting over. So I'm going to wrapping it up. So I'm seeking a job in something. No.
Gopi would be the right.
Yeah, during my PhD, I had started the work.
Salary expectations.
Yeah.
I will work till 11
Pardon, sir?
o'clock.
I want to work in an R&D department.
I don't have family life.
microbiology flow, that this, but what you want to be.
I want to work in an R&D department.
Very generic.
Yeah, but basically, I want to work in a team where it challenges me with different aspects. Like, since I have a knowledge in multiple fields, so I would like to implement all of them. So because
I'll be giving you a Miss World question. So which challenge of
Because our experience is, she has done B in biotech, MTech.
yeah,
It's a different expertise. Again, she went to the PhD.
Correct.
So she has a multiple things, so she's not getting the
I
specific.
understand.
Yeah.
Which challenge of India you would like to solve?
You're on a great level.
Yeah, correct. I think that is the one which I am focusing on. That is a project which I have.
When you are answering, your guide should not answer.
Disqualified.
He's taking away all the credit that you deserve.
No, never, sir. Yeah, she's only pushing me.
Guide there.
The guide should
Like,
also,
the mother all the time, Okay, chalo, gets her at home, you
Anyway.
start speaking.
Thank you.
True.
Make sure-
Make sure your guide comes.
Yeah.
Anna, it's important. Are you prepared to move?
Yes, yes.
To Dharwad.
No, move, like
Because
travel.
From Bangalore. There are third-tier cities that.
Yes, I can think over it. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
That's not a clear
I can tell
answer.
you.
No, Bichu, not in the sense travel.
Completely
Relocate.
Relocate.
Yes, sir. Like, I mean, I am ready to, but since I'm like a married person, so I'll have to discuss with my family.
No, my husband works with Apollo here.
Yeah, my husband is a doctor at Apollo Hospitals in Sheshadripuram. So yeah, I'll have to think in all angles.
Anyway, thank you so much, and make sure you attend this conference.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sure you'll meet a lot more people.
Thank you so much.
Everybody want-
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So I will.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you. So the next one is Muthu Dandapani. Thank you, Muthu, for coming. He's been one of the permanent member of this of IBioM, and also he helps a lot. So Muthu, Raja Mugasi Mangalam suggested that we should bring him over here to give a talk on what he and his company faces in terms of regulatory nuances for a company like him. So Muthu, you have about 20 minutes.
Yeah, sure. All right. Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for the opportunity, and it's a pleasure to be here today. So today I'm going to share. I have been working with the startups since 2018 in various roles as a employee and advisor or mentor, and guided a lot of startups. So today I have just combined a lot of things that we have faced. There were load blockers when we taken the product or services to quality certifications or regulatory approval. So if you look at the Indian scenario, there are two things, right? One is service-based industry and then product-based industry. And it is not just the regulatory approval, it's not just the quality certificate you want to get it. But then when you start working on the R&D to go to market, that these are the things, like I would say this is a 360-degree compliance that we have to take care of, starting from your import-export code and getting the legal metrology for anything that you have measures like weights or temperature. Even if you are importing it, even if it is certified by FDA or CE certificate, still you need to get a legal metrology licenses from Indian government and from Ministry of Consumer Affairs. And also when you are importing batteries or bulbs, and so it requires again BA certificate. If it is not CE certified, if it is not a 510K approved, then you need to get them in order to import it. So a lot of times startups, they order it without knowing them, and then it get confiscated in the customs. They don't release it, and no influence will help there. So, and then coming to the license part, the regulatory license part, if you want to really take any material just to test it for R&D purpose from any overseas country, you need to first, if it is a medical device or diagnostic or therapeutic, even if it is a digital health product, you need to get a test license, that is TL. Then if you want to import it for commercial purpose, then there is something called import license. And if you want to just store it and then distribute it as a distributor, then you need to have a wholesale license. And if you want to manufacture something, then there is a manufacturer license. And coming to the clinical trial, there is a rule in place from 2019 September, new drug and clinical trial rule. And even if it is a AI/ML, people are talking about digital health now. So there is a policy framed by ICMR. When you want to do any AI/ML based studies, so for the clinical studies, there are certain websites, there are certain things that you need to adapt and prove the model. For example, for AI, there is a model that you follow, then you have to validate that thoroughly. So, and even to do marketing, if it is a medical device or diagnostic product or drugs, there is also a marketing practice. It's called Unified Medical Device Marketing Practices. So this is a compliance again. So this talks about what you can give it to physicians, even in terms of room rental, if you are inviting somebody from overseas, what is the best practice you can follow, how much you can give it to the doctor. So all that it talks about this policy. So this is also a regulation. And coming to the sale, there are certain medical devices, diagnostic product, which has a price ceiling. So you cannot, for example, cardiac stent, you cannot sell it more than 25,000 rupees, regardless of the quality, regardless of the regulatory approval has got. You cannot sell it for more than that. So there is a ceiling for 42 categories of medical devices and diagnostic. For example, HIV kit, you cannot sell it for more than the MRP. And even if the manufacturer has to increase the price annually, there is a cap again, only 10% from the MRP they can. So this is also a regulation. And then if anybody has used a kit, diagnostic kit, any citizen can report to material vigilance program. Suppose you go for a camp, and then somebody says that your BP is low or high, or they do the in vitro diagnostic test and say it's positive or negative, and then you don't get convinced, and then you doubt that particular diagnostic kit. If it is a medical device, diagnostic, and also a digital health product, you can write to them, and there will be investigation, and then there will be a penalty also if the manufacturer has given you the compromised diagnostic kit or medical device. And also, while you are developing any device, there will be a lot of e-waste, batteries, wires, and transistors. So there will be a lot of e-waste. So if you don't store the e-waste in a righteous manner in the thing, there is a penalty again. Now this is a new rule has come from last year, that you have to store e-waste the way you treat chemical waste and biological waste. You have to also store the e-waste, and within 200 days, you have to dispose it to the the refurbishing facility or the recycler. And so this is like you have to file every year how much waste you generate, and you have to, so these are all the compliances in biotech, medtech, digital health companies has to take care. And this is not just a regulatory approval you get it from CEDESCO or FDA, and then you can go to the so these are also combination of statutory things. So if you fulfill all of this, then I would say that you are safe in the business. So that's why we call it as a 360-degree, because you have to start from your R&D to all the way to the life cycle of the product that goes to the soil, or you incinerate. And so I would, so based on my past experience with the startups, I thought maybe I'll put in 5 different buckets, so that, if you follow this 5, then your regulatory approval will be less than 6 months. So a lot of time people start developing product, and then when they go to doctor with the beta user study or take some opinion, they say, have you taken the test license? Have you taken the clinical trial, IEC committee approval? Then they go back and then they do the rework, right? So I want to request all the startups to follow this 5 thing as a guidance. So one is on the focus on the facility. So if it is a service facility or if it is a manufacturing facility, you decide whether you want to really invest in the capex or you want to outsource it. That is something that you have to. So in terms of business, there are HSN code for product, and for service you have a SASE codes. So if you have these 2 codes finalized, then you are safe in terms of GST and any statutory matters. So a lot of time you give a general description, and then finally you get an approval, and then when you go to market one day, there will be a drug inspector coming and pulling your invoice and then say that you have given a different GST tax percentage when you sold in the past. So there are some medical devices where you will pay only 12%, where there are some medical devices where you will pay 18%. There are some places where you will just there is an exemption for diagnostic service. You all know that you don't need to pay any GST if you are offering a services to the patients. So no diagnostic comes under GST. So if you have that code, right code, then you are safe with the statutory matter. And when you are planning for rental agreement with your landlord, so a lot of startups, either they incubate in incubation center, technology business incubators, or they have a standalone building of their own. But then when they try to go to regulatory approval, the rental agreement will not have certain languages that they expect. For example, in your rental language, in the rental agreement, you need to have the word manufacturing unit and warehousing. If these 2 words are not there, they will not give the license. So you will be wasting your time going back to the landlord and asking them for a corrected agreement. And all the agreement, whatever we make, it has to be notarized. If you don't notarize it, there is no validity to that. And floor plan, it's a very simple thing. When you take a place, you can draw of the manufacturing unit of your own in a PowerPoint with the inches or centimeter or millimeter, whatever, and then that is needed, because when you go and seek for a license, it could be a warehouse license, it could be a manufacturing license, you need to have the floor plan, otherwise they don't give, and then there will be a query. So for each and every small thing, you will be losing time with the regulatory authorities. And address, a lot of companies, they register somewhere, but then they have a manufacturing unit somewhere, and then when they go to the regulatory authority, there is a clash in the address, because your tax receipt, your rental agreement, your registration, company registration will not talk each other. Like, there will be different addresses. So it's very important, because all the licenses and certificates are linked to the certificates, the ISO certificates or your licenses. So if your addresses are not uniform, then you will have again roadblocker. You have to wait to correct everything. So sometimes some companies I have seen, they have to do the ROC transfer from one state to other. They have to wait several months, because the ROC, the process itself takes 3 to 6 months. So having a right address in all the document, it is like keeping your PAN card, voter ID, and Aadhaar card with the same address. If you have everything, then you will get a passport in 2 days. If you don't have, then there will be a query, they have to wait. The same thing. And you have to decide, the startup has to decide whether they want to really have their own manufacturing unit or a service unit, or they want to outsource. This is something very important business decision. Based on this, your whole license process will change. Suppose you don't want to invest in a capex to develop a manufacturing facility, you can very well go and rent a lease a space, and still CDCS will give approval for that product, because you are the legal owner, and they will give you a license called loan license, which is very equivalent to the manufacturing license of your own. So a lot of time people think, if it is a loan license, then I don't have a good name in the market. That is not, it's a myth. So if you don't want to invest in your own facility, because not every company can invest in the manufacturing unit. So the best way to go to that route is like taking a loan license and go to market. That is the easiest way. And facility insurance. A lot of time, if you're manufacturing facility in a theft-prone area, then insurance is something that you have to think of. A lot of time there will be a burglary, and then you will be losing, and then you will not have any coverage. So by paying maybe 10,000-15,000 rupees, you will you can safeguard all your inventories which are lying in the warehouse. And first of all, if it is a service or manufacturing, you need to conceptualize how are you going to store the material, how are you going to assemble it, how are you going to test it, how are you going to pack it, how are you going to release it to the market. So if you have this thought process, then you can very well set up your own manufacturing facility without anybody's guidance, because you are the product owner, you are the process owner, you know what is going first and second and third. And so this is something a startup company has to think of, because a lot of time I see the people will have a packaging unit in third floor, and then quality control in the ground floor, and then the drug inspector, whoever come for inspection, they will not agree, because they don't trust that kind of taking material, and then they will ask a lot of questions. What if you, after you do the QC, if you take it, and meanwhile there will be jerks, there will be other things, so vibration will be there, so they will ask you to test again. So it's a added work. And so fire safety and access control, a lot of time people, they don't protect their manufacturing unit or the laboratory with the access cards. And it's not that it has to be a biometric, it could be a simple lock and key or a security, you can deploy a security in the thing, but then you cannot just keep it, you keep your manufacturing access to everybody. Fire, it's a very minimal thing. Every 50 meters you have to have a fire extinguisher, otherwise you will get an NC, again your license will be delayed. And waste, biological, chemical, electronic waste, it's all just a different container, segregation process, you can very well maintain. And environmental monitoring, when you are developing a kit which is temperature sensitive, then you need to have the humidity and relative humidity and relative temperature should be taken care of. You can simply establish a log, and then you can record it. That's enough. You don't need to have a data logger, you don't need to have a sophisticated system. But if you do the recording 2 times in a day, that they accept. And coming to the quality, a lot of time we start manufacturing, but we don't have any agreement with the vendors. That itself is a big thing. When during the inspection, if you don't have a critical vendor agreement, and they don't trust your manufacturing process, because it's a business for you and also for the market. Meaning, when somebody places an order, let's say you get a government tender, and then one of the supplier, critical supplier, he go bankrupt, and then you will not be able to deliver to the government within 60 days. So this is something that CDCS officers will look at. If you don't have a critical agreement, then they don't give the license, so they delay it. And EMI/EMC testing is something that when we develop a electromechanical device, electronic device, or electrical devices, the EMI/EMC testing, it has to be part of your product development. Lot of time we develop the product, but we don't test it in the lab. And then when we submit to the regulatory authority, they ask for the EMI/EMC. The reason is the EMI/EMC takes about 5 to 8 lakhs. If it is a very good device, then you have to go to a certified lab. It costs around a minimum of 5 to 8 lakh, and startups are not willing to pay. And then, but when you go for a regulatory approval, when you seek a regulatory approval, they don't give without this. And this is something out. And if it is a biocompatible product, something goes on the skin, or if it is going to touch on the body, and then it's going to be there for some time, even transient time, you have to do biocompatibility. For example, BP cuff, ECG, and all the material that goes in contact with the human skin, you need to do biocompatibility. Again, people skip that, and they will not they will not have any report to submit. And packaging validation is something, it is not for regulatory purpose, it is for our own understanding. If you pack a device, the logistic people, they mishandle sometime in the airport. And so you need to have idea, there will be a lot of tests like compression testing. People, they drop testing, so they drop it, and then they tell you whether it's a robust packaging. So you have to have a good packaging, and then this validation has to be an in-house one, or you can even outsource. And stability testing is for all the IVD kits which has a protein, buffer, enzymes, DNA. Again, you have to have the stability testing for 3 batches, consecutive batches that you produce as a pilot, and this is needed for regulatory approval. So if you are a service-based industry, I would say think about 9001 or GLP, because that's what your customers, end users, end customers will look for. And if you are a diagnostic company, ISO 15189, it's a medical lab testing. And if it is a biological testing, if somebody sends you the sample and then you test it and then report it, then it comes under ISO 17025, that comes under biological testing or chemical testing, food testing, microbiological testing, all of that. And 13485 is very specific for medical device or IVD. So if you decided that your product is a medical device or IVD, then you have to pursue this ISO 13485, because all of this takes time. It takes 3 to 6 months. And without, these are the prerequisites. If you don't have this, then you don't get the regulatory approval. And ISO 27001, if it is a digital health product, like app-based monitoring, remote patient monitoring, app-based, you need to have this, ISO 27001. Otherwise, there will be a lot of questions around the development of the product. And the important thing is clinical. A lot of time people, they don't think about this, and then they develop it, they give it to doctor, they say, we got a testimonial, we are going to market. And then before go to market, obviously you need the other piece, regulatory piece. When you go to regulatory, they would ask you 3 questions. One is whether this product has already in market, like somebody CDS is approved or not. If it is approved, you don't need to conduct all of this. You can very well say that I have a predicate device, but you have to show the in-house validation. But if the second question they would ask, whether the technology, the manufacturing process is the same or different. Suppose you have a BP machine, we all know that BP has to go on, and the cuff has to go here, and then you have to measure. There are now non-invasive BP, where you can just put your finger and then still it measure the BP. So now, if there is no devices approved, BP device approved in Indian market, then that will be considered as a novel device. So there is a different route for the regulatory approval. So they would ask these kind of 2-3 questions, and then they would know that you have not conducted clinical trial. So they would ask you to conduct a clinical study. So you have to wait until you do the study. So the clinical study for anything, even if you use a sample, which is, it's not come in contact with the patient, and you are going to use the patient demographic alone, still you have to register in the CTRI website. For example, you would say, I'm taking a metadata from your PubMed or somebody, someone published. I'm going to just do some statistical analysis. Even then, you need to have a CTRI number. Otherwise, during publication, you will be questioned. Or even if you publish, if somebody cite this, then it will be a problem. So there is no cost associated for the CTRI registration. You have to just have your clinical study protocol. There is no fee. Upload it, create an account, and then within 15 days, you will get a number. And with that number, clinical registry of India. So clinical trial registry of India. Clinical trial registry of India. So this is managed by ICMR, And so the first and foremost thing is getting a IEC committee approval. The institutional ethics committee approval, it's not necessary that they have to approve every time. They can also give you exemption. For example, if you are manufacturing a ECG device, they will exempt you because it's a well-known established device. So you don't need to conduct a trial with the hospital setup, where rather you can do something in-house. And the pilot study is something very important. If you want to demonstrate the clinical safety, clinical performance, you need to definitely have at least a small pilot study. So without any of this, CDCSO will not grant approval. And the last piece is a regulatory. So if you are thinking of the technology readiness level, of BIRAC or any country, then the regulatory, I would say it's a 9th or 10th step, and your clinical would be the 8th step. So in the regulatory, you need to have, as I said, whether you want to really assemble and then sell as a device, or you can outsource it. You can you can give it to the contract manufacturer. They will assemble everything and then give you a finished good. With that, you can go to market with a loan license. So for that, you need to have a MOU with the contract manufacturer, like IVD contract manufacturer or electronic manufacturing service company, EMS companies. So if you have this, then you don't need to have a struggle of getting a regulatory approval for yourself. Rather, the facility will face the audit on behalf of your product, and the other thing, and their employee will answer the question. So you will be the product owner. You will get the license. And another important thing that there is no cost associated to create an account in the medical device online portal. And there is also another portal introduced by SEDESCO called NSWS. So it is not only for SEDESCO. This particular National Single Window System portal, there is a 36 ministry. You can get one approval. It's like a single window system. So if you are manufacturing X-ray machine or MRI or CT scan, you don't need to go to multiple departments like atomic research and other thing. You will get all the approval in one place. So this is a new system that the government has introduced. Now CDC is also part of it. Now all the test licenses, your clinical trials will go through NSWS portal. So there is no cost. You can create one so that you don't need to again struggle. So when you are planning for a regulatory approval, these are the things that you have to take into consideration. And a lot of time.
Just to be on time.
Yeah.
So some of them seem to be fairly obvious.
Yes.
You can go to the one for a really
sure.
Like the last one.
Yeah. So the GEM ABDM now, once you get a license, and now government expect you to be on the GEM portal. Otherwise, you don't get a government tender. So the government e-marketplace is essential. Yeah. As soon as you get a license, you go there, register your product, list it. There is again another inspection. It's a virtual inspection most of the time. And then once your product is listed, you will get an order through online. And then the ABDM for all the digital health product. So Ayushman Bharat digital mission. So you have to register there as well. And the other licenses are regulatory licenses. I think we spoke already. And so the sales and marketing should have a consistency in your browser, website, and IFU and device master file. These are the first 4 documents. You should talk the same language about your indication of use, intended use, because a lot of times people say something in website, something in LinkedIn handle. When you place a order, it will be different. And MRP is something very important. All the biotech and medtech, diagnostic manufacturing, think of MRP. A lot of time there is no price. They give different price to different people. Once you get into the license scheme, then this will be a red flag. Even though it is a past sale, they will catch hold of you and then put a penalty. And and also you need to have a local content declaration. How much you are importing from overseas, how much you are getting it from domestic, and you have to make a calculation and say that your product is more than 50% you are spending in Indian soil, or at least minimum 25%. So otherwise, again, you don't get the opportunity to take part in bidding. So there is a local content declaration 1, 2, 3. There are 3 categories. So you need to try to be in first or second, local content 1 supplier or local content 2 supplier. Otherwise, you don't get opportunities. And disclaimer is something for your diagnostic. What you are not finding through this test. All that you can disclose. You can give it as a disclaimer in the report or in the website. And trademark. This is something very key. Otherwise you don't get your brand registered, like license. You will get it in like, for example, remote patient monitoring. Anybody can take in generic name, but then somebody can also copy your brand name in future. So if you don't have a trademark registration, this is something you have to think in biotech and medtech. And the other things are, I think, the IP filing and done. So this all comes under the sales and marketing.
So done mean
Digital universal summary system. So basically, when the investor want to invest in the manufacturing unit, they want to really validate. It's like a GST. So you don't get the GST unless somebody come and visit the facility and then authenticate it. Similarly, the DUNS, they send a person, they validate the facility that you are located, and then they give you a DUNS number. It's a 9-digit number or 12-digit number, and that number you have to cite it in the FD applications, or even if a foreign investor is investing in your company, you have to give. Otherwise, they don't. They will ask you to get the DUNS number before they invest, or even FDA will ask you to get the number before they grant a 510(k) approval. Wow. So these are the thing, and yeah. So I will stop here. Maybe you can ask few questions if you have any.
So this is only for the chemical thing, or
it's for every company: therapeutics, diagnostic, medical device, and digital health. All four.
What about research use?
Research is only, you don't have any stringent regulations, because you are not going to claim anything. You yourself will say research use category. So research use category, you can you cannot say anything diagnostic. Like the moment you use prognostic, diagnostic, then they are expecting you to have the licenses. If you don't say anything on clinical side, you are still, you can do the service.
HSN code not a problem.
HSN code is important. It's not that regulatory, it's a statutory. So HSN code and SASC code, it is not something linked to the regulatory, it is statutory. It is linked to your trade license, BBMP trade license. So if you don't have that number, and anybody can walk in and then say, where is your trade license? And then it's not matching. So basically you'll get a GST notice. So you will get a notice from the GST office. So HSN is nothing to do with regulatory, but it is a statutory.
Any other questions?
You help with in these services. You're offering the service support.
Yeah, I can guide on this. Approval, if you need any approval, regulatory market approval, or any quality certifications. Yes.
The previous slide, did you put this entire thing together based on your experience?
It is an experience. I have worked with so far 38 different product, digital health, service-based thing, and then medical devices, augmented virtual reality product, diagnostics, therapeutics. So these are our experiences. What I said is the customer experience. So basically, the company where I guided, they faced all of this problem, all of this. That is why I took time to just prepare everything in one.
Most comprehensive.
Because if you solve all of this problem, then you don't have any roadblocker. So we got FDA approval. You will not believe, there is a thing called the third-party review approval, and instead of 2 years, you get it in 60 days, and there we got in 47 days. So you shrink the time 2 years to 47 days. If you are good with all of this 5 bucket, then your regulatory approval, any regulatory approval, it's not only US FDA, CE certificate, everything will be quick. But the problem is people, they don't think about all of this. Then only when the doctor asks, only when the patient asks, only the tender agency asks, you go and then think about what is VAS, what is ISO, what is regulatory approval. That's where people have problem. So
I know this is India relevant regulations.
Yes.
But I think all of this is also in alignment with the.
Yeah, that is even more stringent. So this is nothing. Indian thing is nothing, and the European and USD much more stringent. So there is a lot of documentation and studies goes into that.
So what you had to do for your product? Did you FSSAI licenses?
That is a food. That is for food. So I have not covered the food or environmental or agriculture. So I want to be focused on the biotech and medtech, diagnostics, and digital health product. Yeah.
So which one is the toughest to get in all of this?
So there are 6 country approval which are considered as a global reference approval: US FDA, CE certificate, TGA Australia, PMDA Japan, Health Canada, and MHRA UKCA. So these are the 6. It's called global reference approval, and it is geography specific. For example, if you develop a drug which is for rare disease, and then you have to go only to the Western countries, you can think of either. But if you are focusing on Indian market and then other rest of the world, CE certificate. So the FDA and CE are very common, but then again, sometimes people, they take a call because they have to satisfy the Japanese investors or the Australian investor, then they think of those geography first. And then, so in any case, you have to first think of SEDESCO, because if your manufacturing unit is located in India, the first thing you have to do is SEDESCO license. Yeah. So
Muthu, this is extremely comprehensive.
thank
sorry
you so
that
much.
Many other people could
No,
not
no
be
problem.
here.
I think there is an
We
online
want
session.
to invite you maybe for one of the sessions, maybe in a big conference, maybe
Sure.
to IBioM.
Sure.
Many people, we made it easy for many.
Yeah, definitely.
I've not been to any of this. That's why I stayed in R&D. R&D is easy. You want to say R&D, right? Stay there. Don't go there. Or you go work with him. So, Muthu, thank you very much. And
My pleasure.
Like I said, we need to give a thanks to Raja for suggesting your name.
Thank
and
you.
We need to do more of this so that other members can benefit.
Definitely.
Any other? No? Okay.
My recommendation is if it's a larger group,
Yes.
it's good to share that one slide.
Sure, I will. I have already shared with the IBioM.
Sit down in advance, at least you know what products the companies are interested in. So you could be a little more detailed. So it just work a lot more.
So I have correct.
Absolutely, just make it a little more specific. Sure. If it's a larger audience.
And please put your name so that it's.
So I have a questionnaire developed for all 4 category: therapeutic, diagnostic devices, and digital health product. So if somebody can fill, then I will be able to guide like one-on-one for like half an hour as a pro bono. So I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so. I know. So now can we continue our panel discussion here itself instead of moving there and losing time? So we request Shiv and Mithun and Ishwar, please come forward and take these chairs. And then, so the reason why the next topic is about Davids, they sent out a request to IBioM saying that Mr. Priyank Kharge, who is the Minister for RDPR and also ITBT, he suggested he's formed he's constructed a skill council, I think it's called, and he's invited through the department. They've invited people to provide input to what sort of skills biotech industry would require now or a few years from now. Okay, so for that, I thought one of the topics should be this one, and I wanted to make sure that people who are really working on the ground with regard to hiring people and what sort of skills they have, how much time that they have to spend with the new hires in terms of training them to their liking and all of that. And then if there are some skills that are absent in the ecosystem, then what is that we can list it, how we can list it, and then submit it as a formal proposal or a formal submission from IBioM. And so I know Deepthi has got a dinner date with the Prime Minister I think so. She's in a hurry. No, it was only a joke. No, I know she has to go out and do. Sorry. Sorry. Anyway, and then so Shekhar is going to really lead or kickstart the discussion. Yeah, are you?
Yes.
Okay, quick. Let her. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So you can start and then I'll join.
So good evening, everyone. And I represent a company called Protein Design. Most of the people are aware. So we're today here to discuss about hiring in startups, the skill set required, not present. Everybody says we need skilled personnel, but frankly, looking at having been associated with a whole lot of colleges where they have UG in biotech, post-graduation courses, having taught in a college for MSc Biotech, MSc Biochem program, I know that the practicals there are good in terms of knowing about the techniques and things, but the hands-on practice or the skill set that is required for job in the industry, there is still a big gap. So well, at Protein Design, we've started a training lab. We do workshops for college students and train them in molecular biology techniques, animal cell culture handling, and some hipper techniques like flow cytometry, CRISPR, and things like that. So in the hope, and also we encourage interns to come and spend time in the lab so that they can be more skilled or more ready for jobs. So I'm sure the discussion here will be in terms of what we need, how to hire, how much time they need for training, and how well, even for the fact that how much the startups can pay and how long those people will train and stay, because they jump off for greener pastures. So with that, I have to mention that my first employee at the company came through IBioM. So I got the CV in the group, and I looked at it. The skill set looked decent. A year of lab work, and the fact that she stayed very close to the lab. So immediately I called her. The next day she came and joined. Yes. So and a lot of students who spend time at the lab also ask me to refer them to companies, also for the ones who are good, and especially if I hear of anybody who's needing that kind of skill set, I do try and connect that way. So it was nice to hear your pitch, and I think I'll hand over the mic for others to
Thank you. So thank you, Deepthi ma'am, and hey everybody, I'm Shekhar Suman from Biotechnica. Most of you know me here, online audience. Hi. So to start with, this topic was suggested by me only in the IBioM trustees discussion. The topic is hiring scientific talent for startups. So on one hand, the startups are tied with the resources. They don't have a big daddy who is paying them dollars. They just started from scratch, probably from their own house, and then they scale it up or whatever they do. But at the same time, the incoming talent which is coming, especially the younger generation nowadays, they have very high expectations. And at the same time, the requirement of that particular company is very specific, which is not being catered. For example, the person knows microscopy or titration, but that's not very relevant to that particular company. So what we are seeing, in fact, my presentation before that, which was supposed to happen, but it'll happen later, I'll be talking about the same, that we are having graduates who are not employable by startups because that specific skill set is absent. At the same time, they are expecting a Google-like welcome mat or a Microsoft kind of welcome to happen to them. But we are startups, we are very small, and we're trying to scale. At the same time, we are not able to meet the expectations of these incoming employees. So let's discuss what are the challenges we are facing as a startup, and then let's find out how can we address it towards the conclusion. Yeah. So I would like to invite Mithun Shah, who is handling nanobiotechnologies in MIS. So he would be in a position to throw some light on that.
Skandan, can I have
small book or writing pad.
The discussion sounds a little sad, so let me put some perspective to it. The way I keep my sanity is hiring sucks, finding talent sucks, and once you find them, actually for them to show up on the appointment day is the term worse than suck. You can use that.
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble. People will not show up. The ethics level doesn't exist. But the way I keep my sanity is it's tough, but it could be a lot worse. We're not in information technology where the compensation is off the roof. It's bonkers, right? It could be really worse. So in that perspective, the compensations are really low. I don't think it can get any lower than that. The reason biotech domain is low is it cannot get lower. So in that perspective, it's good. You need 1, you can get 100. The problem is 99 out of the 100 are going to be useless.
Sure.
No sugarcoating here. The question is, how can you weed out the 90 out of the 100 and actually get the 10, and you have to invest in training them so they can start performing. And out of the 10, 7 will leave for whatsoever reasons, and you'll be left with 3. This is the probability, this is the odds you got to deal with. There's no getting around it. But it's doable. You're no longer the CEO, you're the chief human resource officer. That's your job. It's okay, you don't clean the toilet the next day, that's okay, but you still have to go for your interviews, you have to do all of that. Janitorial services are optional, hiring is not optional. So it's not that bad. A lot of people, but finding the right talent is extremely difficult. So the way we kind of dissect it is we're getting around this notion that we have to train. There's no shortcut, and we have to train more than what we need so we can get what we need. But talent is required, and specifically for AnaBio, right? I'm the founder of AnaBio, and I'm not a biotechnologist. I have no background. I didn't know what a bacteria or a virus was 5 years ago. I'm a material scientist. But science is science. You can use those skills to understand what your other colleagues are saying, and that's how I kind of learn from people on the job every day. So when there's specific skills required, then we hire the best in class. And usually we have a bias. We get people from universities abroad. There's a big difference, and you got to do that. There's no shortcut. You have a 50% odds that somebody with a PhD from the US or Europe is going to be good. There's a 5% or less than that odd that a PhD from India is going to be good. That's my
perspective.
Yeah. So not saying everybody's bad. You're naturally talented, you'll be good. But the ecosystem helping you to be good is a low probability. The ecosystem abroad helps you to be better. That's where things change.
But the compensation expectation.
No, the compensation is the compensation, whatever the market can pay. I can raise $10 million on my idea there. I can not raise $100,000 on my idea here. So it's parity.
You're hiring based on expertise, no matter what it takes.
It depends.
We're talking about hiring in startups.
No, so we have done both. We do both. We hire people from abroad, Indians who want to come back, and we also hire freshers from college, and we don't know if they'll turn up on Monday.
Okay.
So we deal with both.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Before I think I'm Shiv. I'm from co-founder for Immunitas Bio. We are an immunology-focused company. So I think somebody was discussing that, startups pay less. Maybe we are less compared to IT, but is that the case? I just want to get a clarification here, because at least my experience, it's not the case.
The biotech domain.
Biotech domain is low, but is there a difference between a biotech startup and a biotech established company? Is there a huge difference? No, I don't think so.
So see, there is a lot of difference. Particularly when it comes to agri biotech, there is no way. There is no money at all. So there it is very difficult to start with it. I don't know what is the normal pay which is given for a BTech undergraduate now.
There is a
What
big
is
disparity.
that?
No, I think
Just get an
startups
idea.
pay more than MNCs. Why? Not everybody joins the startups. We need to pay them more and get them.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I felt. If you want to really find a good talent,
I think, this notion of like, big companies pays more, whereas startups pays less is not right, is my opinion. Because unless you pay, you can't retain anybody. If you want to retain somebody, you have to pay at par with big companies or even better than big companies. You may, on salary part, you may find it that like, startups are, but there are other benefits and perks that the startups also offers, which really matches or even better than startup. That's the only way you can retain talent. As you said, people are willing to change job for 1,000 rupees. That's the sad truth. So that's about that part. But I think I'm just going to I totally agree with what Mithun said, and we have gone through those experiences. And luckily, I had some good experience and some not so good experience. But when you have a talent which is trained well, when I say trained well, not necessarily it has to be abroad, but abroad is definitely a plus. So it definitely adds a lot of value to the company. So that's one of the criteria. And when we look at it, we look for people who have trained abroad or have some experience working outside the country. And we do have a good number of people within the company who are all trained abroad. So we know, that's an advantage there. But in terms of future, where we want. So I think, right now, a lot of skills that we are working on is sort of mostly like, molecular biology or cell biology, or all of them are well established, but the field is moving fast. We are going into an era where, biology is going to be integrated with engineering a lot more. I feel that is a skill area that we need to develop. And that is going to be going forward. Even the diagnostic tests that they say that nothing is going to be manually done, everything is going to be chip based and everything is going to be cassette based. That's the direction the industry is moving. People like Roche and Abbott are all heavily invested into that direction. But as a country, we are not yet there yet. So that's a skill set that we definitely need. The other area that I see that where the skill sets are needed, which again, we are not going, we are not having enough people. Most of the therapies and things are going to be personalized. So nothing is going to be generic. So if it is personalized, again, you need specific skill sets that are where people know how to make personalized medicines, personalized therapies, and so on. So those are all areas that we need. And even there, a lot of data analytics and AI is going to come in for all those things. So the integration of this sort of data analytics and the existing data and the clinical correlation, all this is going to be, happening in a touch of a button. That's how the healthcare industry is evolving. So for all that, the role of a biotechnologist or a data analyst, all is going to be important. I feel there is a lot of opportunity in those areas to moving forward. That's my thought process on future directions.
So anything happening in terms of, this is something I definitely wish to recommend to the government, at least the Karnataka government, saying that what courses, for example, Dr. Bindu teach sort of encompasses some of these futuristic technologies in your current curriculum. So how can we influence the government to influence the education department to put those in your syllabus? Right? You're all very syllabus oriented, right? So that's something that we have to take care. So definitely, I think Biotech sort of converges some of this engineering, other technologies into the curriculum as opposed to MSc in biotech, right? So maybe some things that
I think you guys did it. It kind of stopped post that the program that you guys instituted, the biceps program, or I think rather than work on syllabus change, which I think takes a lot longer unless you want to introduce Ramayana into your curriculum, which can happen faster than actually changing the topics. I don't want to get into politics, but if you have this government program where the government is funding that, and startups are a great training ground.
Yes.
Corporates love startup employees because they know a lot more than what a entry-level employee.
More, they're more capable. We give an all-round training.
Exactly. So if you look at Germany, for example, one of the ways the country has grown post the World War is their apprentice program is so rock solid. They have an amazing apprentice program. That's what we need here, where students who are either in the final year or 1 year, they have to be doing work in an industry. It's a job. You don't get paid market salary because you're still going on training, but you have a proper apprenticeship program. And as companies, we are kind of writing that off, saying, okay, hey, we don't have the cost, so we're going to get very little benefit out of it, but that's how you pay back to it. But what it results in is the amount of people you will get, and that are really, really good. And that'll be, and what happens in the syllabus is once you have a syllabus that's set, but as he said, if the industry is changing at a pace of 2 years, the whole program, like nobody was talking about AI 2 years ago, but everybody is now. When these guys come in, they will actually be working on that. So yeah, I think that program needs to be brought back in full force.
There's something we've strongly recommended in the month of October itself, because the Karnataka government again sought input for the new policy document, which is not officially released yet. They made draft was released at the last IBioM Meeting Biotech Summit, but I've not seen the final version yet. So we made a lot of comments. In fact, we even had a chat with the manager BT Paranika Pavanram, who is currently the head of the biotech in Cambridge. We had a conference call with her, and again we insisted on that. So again, we will be writing to the Skill Council heads about how you all are really looking forward to that program. I have no idea why it got stopped. It was a very nice program, like you said, and multiple universities were involved. And each university was specific selected for their strength in that particular technology. And no idea why it stopped. And we were getting support from DBT as well, even that got stopped. So we will definitely recommend that. But in terms of and again, I think going to Mr. Ishwaran, see, Biocon has been running this academy for nearly 10 years. I think it was a smart move, because maybe Biocon didn't want to wait for programs like BICEP to keep producing graduates totally trained for Biocon and such industries. So I think they've done a good job. I don't think every company can have their own academies like the way Biocon can. So you would, is it? Yeah. Okay. So okay. So, yeah.
I was about to mention that. Okay. First of all, Ishwaran by name, and I work as a director and dean for Biocon Academy. It's been 10 years now, and I'm both in the receiving end as well as the giving end. Okay. So to answer your query, it is too risky to generalize that startups pay equally like established company. It is completely case on case basis. That's what I have seen, because it's two things. One is about the pay, and the other thing is about the sustainability. So there are a few more aspects attached to this particular type of jobs. What we do at Biocon Academy is that we started with one program called as Bioscience program in collaboration with K Graduate Institute, California, and they teach in the morning. And afternoon, we send the students to Biocon Limited, to each department, to R&D, to quality, to regulatory, and manufacturing, of course. And we train them for 4 months. All the 4 months, afternoon is completely in Biocon. And all the mornings, they get trained in K Graduate Institute. These are the two elements. And the third element is the hands-on training. As you rightly mentioned, when you pick up a candidate, if you have to reduce the amount of training time you want to spend on them, it's a good idea that you get a candidate who is already having some hands-on training, at least to run a fermenter, to run a HPLC, to run a fax machine, or to run a flow cytometry, whatever the machine is. So basically, we give a hands-on training also. The third portion of it, we are tied up with Thermo Fisher, we are tied up with Biozine, we are tied up with Merck Limited. So we are giving the hands-on training. These three are the technical deliverables, and we clearly identified that this model is not going to produce a good candidate for a long run without adding the soft skills. So we clearly tailor-made soft skills for each program. We have bioscience program, quality control microbiology program, quality control analytical program, and regulatory affairs program. So for each program, there is a tailor-made soft skills. For example, the soft skill that is necessary for a manufacturing person is completely different from a soft skill required by a regulatory person. Where we are, regulatory, we are training them in stakeholder management, because they have to work with CFTs, cross-functional teams, consistently. So we are focusing on stakeholder management. We are training them on negotiating skills, time management, good documentation practices, good writing practices, and so on. So basically, from academy side, this is what we are doing. To give a quick disclaimer to Dr. Mithur, this Biocon Academy is a CSR arm of Biocon, where Kiran has clearly put a mandate that Biocon group of company does not have a first right of refusal. So it is not for Biocon, for sure. I can proudly say that. I know that I am telecasted. So, right. So it is absolutely not for Biocon group of companies. We invite Biocon group of companies as good as any other companies like Dr. Reddy's or Panesha Biotech or Anabio or whomsoever it is, we are sending the note in the same day. So anybody can participate, anybody can pick up trained students from Biocon Academy without any recruitment charges, nothing. So that's the baseline of our thing.
But still, you do get some of the graduates from your academy going into Biocon, right?
The same way. The same way.
No compulsion.
Absolutely no. Absolutely.
Students would prefer going to a Biocon that would
Yeah.
read well on a CV, right?
Yeah.
So that would be a preference they would have.
Absolutely. In fact, it is nothing to do with students' preference. Just to clarify, we conduct the placement drive by 9:30 in the morning in the same day, where every company participates.
No, I'm not saying the Biocon gets a preference. I'm saying students would prefer it.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. One thing what we are doing is once the student is, for example, take an example of Anabio. Once the student take the offer of Anabio, we are preventing them from attending Biocon interview.
Correct.
That way they don't get the preference of doing it. Because as he was rightly saying, biotech, we don't have that much luxury where I can give 3-4 offers and say, you choose any one of it. We have not come to that level at all. Okay, so.
We are hearing from what Dr. Kim Mazumdar says.
Yes.
That when she went for IPO, when Sinjin went for IPO,
yeah.
and whatever else, it's very clear. She makes statements like, we don't want to be the only ones who gone to IPO. We
Right.
want other companies. There should be more companies
Yes.
from Karnataka, from India.
Absolutely.
That's very clear. I don't think I meant to say that Biocon.
No.
Academy is only for Biocon.
It is just to clarify, nothing more than that.
What he made is a valid point. I would like
Absolutely.
to
Yes,
add
yes, please.
So, you look at this, startups are the training grounds, and then the big companies, these guys switch. So attrition is a
Poach.
yeah, poach. So whether you call it as a poach or switch or attrition. So I have seen this, I've done in last 18 years hiring for 179 companies, including Biocon. So what I have seen is when we put people for startups, they'll be like, who is this company? I don't know. So that branding thing is missing. While Biocon or companies like Zydus or Dr. Reddy's has done immense amount of branding. So people feel that it'll, weigh more on their CV. And then they work here as long as they're not getting there. So this becomes a menace for the industries, for startups, because they're already tied up with a lot of work, and then hiring becomes additional work because this guy switched. So how do we solve this problem? Let's talk about that.
There is one, in a small scale, there's a solution. So we are incubated at Bangalore Bioinnovation Center. So usually when you're at if 25 companies next to each other, you don't see people jumping from one company to the other. Because I don't think the incubation center entertains that, but founders also don't do that. That's a unwritten rule that we don't cross that red line. So that kind of helps us conserve our own kind of thing. So that works.
That will work with big companies?
I'm saying that's at least a solution that has worked. If I were on the other side, I would not. Because for them also, they're a larger company, they have larger problems. I mean, so to each their own, but at least on startup scales where you have a network, that has worked. I know in larger companies, if you look at the startup world in the IT sector in the Valley and all of that, the same thing happens. The larger companies poach from the smaller companies give more ESOPs and poach from the larger companies. That I don't think that will work, but that's part of business.
Yeah, that's
so
that's purely business.
Yeah. Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
Sure, go ahead.
It's also to do with the mindset of the youngsters also I have seen. Not only in startups, even in larger companies, the sustainability is very less. They move. They tend to move. Year and a half, 2 years is big deal nowadays. So I am seeing that as a trend also, as a mindset also. So I don't know, it is to do with a bigger problem. But
the attention span is shrunk. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a product market fit. We call it the employee-employer fit.
Okay.
So when you have 10 people, you'll find one person who fits that role, fits that company, and the company fits that employee. And they are the ones who stay for 5 years, 7 years.
So
Makes sense.
yeah. See, I'm the founder of a company called Terraceous. So basically, what I see here is in the early part of your startup, you struggle to get the people, but once you build the brand, is the other way you have a problem now. So one application we asked and 250 CVs came. So that is the kind of the requirement in the industry. So having said that, I think more importantly, I feel you need to keep the environment rather than the pay. Pay is only the one part of the thing. Only I would look at it as a 20% people look at the pay in the present world, because money is, I know everybody wants some basic money to manage, but beyond that, they need something else. In fact, one of the everybody wants to be in their CV. They want to look at they worked in X or Y company, isn't it? We all did when we were in young. We went to a different best schools in the world and then came back, and then best companies we went, and then we came back, and then we are doing the startup now. So it's I don't believe that should be a threat for all of us. So what I feel here is, how do you make the environment culture more important for them? So in fact, my employee number is in like 30 or something. 7 years the company is there, already 12 people are there. So on an average 4 years we are running for the employees. So I feel it's like opportunity which you give what other companies can't give. So somewhere we need to create. So we have brought the best technology in the world for people to get attracted, and hiring is always done by me majority of the times. I go around and then show the whole company, and then I introduce to the right people, because if I like that person, I want them to be on the board. I make sure that I show that the best in the world what we have, so that they get attracted and then come to the thing. So hiring should not be given to the, I know sometimes interviews done by, when you increase the number of people, it might be a challenge for you to do that, but I believe you have to, the top guy has to look at the hiring people. So otherwise it's you're bringing the people who are not fitting for the culture. So a lot of the times culture is very, very important. We need to hire the best for the thing. But unless you find the best, you don't even have to hire. I'll tell you, I'm looking for a sales head, business sales and business head. From last couple of years, I'm looking for who can take my part of the job so that I can be doing more strategic thing. Still, I've not found. I've not hired the right person. So till you find the right person, don't hire. That's what I can say.
That maybe after your comment, I want to draw the Dr. Bindu and a young person here. What's your mindset, when you really go and look for a job, and what are the expectations, and what is it you can give to them and they can give to you, that sort of thing? Maybe you can just form your thoughts. We'll come to you.
Yeah. So because we hire for multiple companies, and every company has a different DNA, different taste, and different requirement. So what thumb rule we started following is, whenever we are hiring for any company, we don't look for the top talent. Generally, we all like, okay, we want the topmost talent. See, the topmost talent will always look for the topmost company, and he may be unstable. So we look for somebody who is trainable, employable, who can be brought up from that level and pulled through. And he knows that he's not that great that a big company will poach him, what he said. So that way, we saw that because we have to give a 6 months guarantee or a 1 year guarantee that that guy is not switching jobs. Right. So we started doing this, and we saw our bottom line, inflate, because this guy is not switching job because he's trainable. And then we encouraged our client companies to have a robust training program, because attrition is real. Let's accept it. And in the era of a 60 seconds Instagram video, people don't have a attention span of more than 7 seconds. Right. So when these two changes we brought in, we saw a positive change. And of course, what he said, culture is your secret co-founder. So as a company, when you are hiring, you have to make sure that person is fitting into your culture. Even though he is highly trained, highly talented, if he's not going to fit into your culture, he will not just, yes, he will just spoil the whole ecosystem where other employees will also start looking for a job elsewhere. So you have to be very careful with whom you hire, and culture is your secret co-founder. Yeah.
To add to that, I think what recently we have been doing is, when we recruit, we do the initial interview, and then we ask them to come and spend a day in the lab, talk to everybody, and take feedback from the employees, and then we take a decision. That way it is, it's a mutual decision between both the employee and the employers. So that's exactly what we do. And we have flown people from all over India also now, because we know that, it costs us, but we felt that it's worth an investment. Particularly when you are trying to build an association and you need to have that sort of relationship. Trust is key. So that trust is achieved by enabling such interactions. Yeah.
Let's listen from a few academics, including Dipankar. But after that, after you, I want to change the line a bit, because apart from soft skills and retention plan and what the culture and all of that, what specific technologies that you look for? Is it flow cytometry? Is it nanopore technology? Is it something that you don't get run-of-the-mill students coming and applying for a job? If someone is really trained in nanopore, like in genotyping, for instance, or someone trained in, from his company, those sort of technologies, how we can suggest to the government to at least start talking about it and establish specific departments like in MS Ramaya, and get those students exposed to that, so they're almost ready-made, particularly for the technology is concerned. Yeah. So let's talk about that later.
Hi all, I'm Bindu from the Department of Biotechnology, Ramaya Institute of Technology, and being a teacher for like a little over 20 years. So when you're asking about hiring, so, most of our biotech students, the BE biotech students, I should say 30% of them straight go for higher studies, because they think, pursuing higher studies will give them more career options, and also probably their research interests also take them there. And then we see, a certain percentage of students, especially now, and also, post-COVID, for about a couple of years, they want to work in an industry. And when I say industry, most of the times the students do not have a distinction that, an industry is a startup, or say, some things like, say, in the big league. So I should say our biotech students are very realistic when they are looking at job opportunities. So, and also when it comes to emoluments, salary also, they're okay to work with what you say, their fellow students from other branches. They would be right at the internship stage itself, they would be getting a very high salary, but our students are okay with that. But then lots of times what they are looking at is what, like one of you mentioned, is that employer-employee fit. See, they're all students at the undergraduate stage, so they want to learn. So that's when startups really help, because you're like that all-in-all kind of a person. So you get to learn every aspect. Say you're in process engineering, so every other unit operation. So you get to learn, you get trained, and you're in a way responsible. So, this kind of gives them that right impetus in their growth in the career. But then most of the times the employers do realize that, okay, this guy is going to be with us only for a couple of years, because many of them immediately after their BE, when they're working with you, they are also seeking to do higher studies. So that's there with a large fraction of students. However, now, as I told you, there are students, some of our undergrad students, who are with a certain industry for about 4 to 6 years. So because they're all engineers, and many of them in process engineering, so, they don't require a higher or a master's degree just to prove that, they have the expertise in that area. So that's why it works well for them. So as I've told you, and they are doing pretty well. So in, say, process engineering, that's what I have seen.
Just pass it on to Vijay. He's a dean of academia in University. What's your experience was it?
Yeah, I'll probably give a slightly different one, because I come from the IT industry. I entered academia last 2 weeks back. So 26 years of my experience has been in the IT industry, where the same problem is probably a bit more acute, because the variation in salary levels are significantly higher. And I've seen a trend over the past 5 to 6 years where people who are technically good but also have entrepreneurial skills know that their their career path will not be helped if they go to a large company, right? So many of them say that I don't want to go to a big company, because if I stay in a startup, I'll know the business aspects as well as the technical aspects, right? So I think one of the key things is to identify those kind of people who are technically good but also have an entrepreneurial aspiration, right? Because once you have that, and once you include them in your business discussion, saying that I'm having this product and I'm taking this decision because the product market fit, right, from a product perspective, is because of this. Once you include them in your discussions, they know for sure that they're going to learn more here than working in a specific department in a larger company. I think I'm seeing more youngsters in that group nowadays.
What happens is people we get talk a lot of big stuff, saying we want to take risks, we want to grow.
Huh.
But when it really comes down to the decision making,
Right.
risk appetite is actually quite limited.
Okay.
And
Okay.
They are, I would say, 8 out of 10 would actually take a safer bet than that.
Correct.
So if you can get them.
Correct. The good thing in the IT industry is because we have a larger mass of people to choose from, right? It becomes much easier for us to actually get these two people and retain them. And culture becomes the next important thing, because they know for sure that their progression into what they want to do, they'll not be able to get it in larger companies. That is one. Second thing that I wanted to ask is, a large part of this is about the demand supply gap, right? I wanted to understand how dire is the situation in the life sciences industry. In IT industry, it was extremely bad at one point of time. Now it is not as bad, especially since the last 1.5 years. There's not as much of a demand supply gap. So
Covering that in my presentation later.
okay, perfect.
So, Dipankar, would you like to add? I know in your cream, the cream that you have in your lab, maybe you really want to go and do a postdoc and that sort of things. But have you come across people with entrepreneurial hunger in them asking you?
Well, I'll give a different perspective, because with respect to students, we don't have a real choice as to which student will join our lab. It depends on their ranking in the interviews and so on. But I suppose with respect to this, you do have a choice when you're hiring JRFs or senior research fellows or junior research fellows. For that, for my laboratory, I prefer that they don't have any experience. It's better for me to train a naive or undifferentiated person in experience. That's what I look for. As long as they can do some math, some calculations, I am perfectly fine. So I look for inexperience and I look for compatibility with respect to personality, as long as the person is adjusting a little bit. Yeah. So these are the two. In fact, training is a problem for me, because to train them is a major problem. So I look for naivety, inexperience, and then I'll train them. And then yes, unlearning is a major problem. So for me, that works, has worked quite well.
The students' point of view?
Yeah, one suggestion, or I don't know if it can be implemented. Companies, when they are planning to hire, so what they can do is end of the semester, usually the 6 months they have project work. So probably during that time, if they can take the students or hire the students at that time and train them then for that 6 months, then at least they will know how capable they are and whether they will fit into the company or not. And accordingly, they can hire them, or they can just finish their project and leave. So I think that one suggestion I can give. So that is, yes, yeah.
You've done that, except before the internship ends. Kind of.
Yeah, yes.
we always look for those candidates. In fact, fourth year finishing or MSc at the end, because when we train them, it's easy for us to understand whether they are suitable for us or not. Because if they are coming second or third year, we hesitate, because that sometimes we take, but majority of the times we look for those.
Okay, Shekhar is going to give a few comments on this and then go straight to his presentation. In the meantime, we will let Deepthi go because Prime Minister is waiting.
Much. Thank you.
Actually, a
Little bit, that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We'll catch you next time for a longer time.
Yes.
Okay.
I look forward to more interactions too next time.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, all the panelists for all those insights. Yeah. So I'll be sharing my.
Divya, can you turn the projector on? Where did I just? Oh,
He did. Okay. Right. Okay. So.
It's coming. Sorry. Just reading.
Yeah. So my presentation was actually supposed to happen before this panel discussion, so it will be a bit of a prequel. But yeah, anyways, we have spoken a lot about it. So if we'll just try to first wind up the panel discussion here and conclude. Startups should not only become the training grounds for students or biotech professionals. They should actually contribute towards the scaling of those biotech enterprise. And if that really happens, they will be able to employ more. And if they employ more, then obviously the problem which academia faces, wherein there is no placement, is hurting. That gets solved. Because a big company has a limited requirement. They can, hire only a fixed amount of people. But we have more MSMEs, we have more startups coming up every day, and we need to promote more bio-entrepreneurship also into the college. So I'll be covering all of that in my presentation today. So attrition is real. We have to really address that elephant in the room. But at the same time, we have to have a beginner's mind when we are hiring. That's very important for all our entrepreneurs sitting in this room, because if we don't have a beginner's mind, we are being dictated by our previous bad experience, and that way we might be losing a very good talent who may stay with us. So don't look for a very high quality talent. Look for somebody who can be employable, trainable, but will stay with you longer, because that guy will help you scale. And once you have built a brand, anyways, the top guy will come and join you. So, that's, I think I can conclude. So I would like to bring up this session. This was supposed to be a prequel of what we discussed earlier. So scientific talent, I've kind of made up, prediction for the next 5 years also, and the current challenges which we are facing. And let's accept it, the biotech academia earns bigger than the startups ecosystem combined. Now, why do I say that? Because in India, there are 1,000 plus biotech colleges, and combined turnover of that is higher than the biotech startups which are there in our country. So if the startups goes down, the biotech academia goes down. So the time has come that biotech academia takes notice and supports these startups. So let's have a presentation here.
Do you have numbers around
this? Yes, I do have. I do have for Karnataka. I have included in the presentation, but I do have separately for the entire country. So let's look at the Indian life science industry currently. Either is serving the Western clients or selling the Western client products to Indians, or is doing R&D in India and delivering to the world, or competing with the Western companies with their product, okay, or is serving the government of India. These are the several categories we have. Now, I have not included the big pharma and big biotech companies. I'm only talking about the startups in the life science industry. So if we want to categorize, these are the 4 or 5. I may have missed 1 or 2, but this is how we are handling things here in the ecosystem. Now, the game changers are entering into our industry, and every startup guy, every biotech entrepreneur is now asking these questions: that how can we use AI into whatever I am doing right now? How can I extrapolate and find out better solutions to the existing problems using machine learning? How can I implement bioinformatics to serve the world? Because it can be done cheaply in India, and I have more talent. So these are, I have outlined 12 game changers which are entering our industry currently. Predictive diagnostics is one such field. mRNA technology is entering. Bioremediation, if you see, India is the dirtiest country in the world. I'm telling this on camera. I'm sorry, but that's the truth, because after every big city we have a landfill, right? And we need the biotech guys to solve this problem. Bioremediation needs to be taken care of, and this is one field where existing entrepreneurs as well as new entrepreneurs can come in. Then we are looking at CRISPR and now Open CRISPR, where CRISPR is gene editing, Open CRISPR is using AI to edit the genome. 3D bioprinting, where we can probably print the cells and again using stem cells. So these are the areas which are going to be a game changer in the next 5 years. Then we have anti-aging. Yes.
So just continue the previous slide.
Yes.
Any other technology people you think I think is listed very important ones? So Rod and many others.
He's covered mine. I'm delighted to see AI at last and machine learning. If you're not in AI, you're out.
Yes. If you're
if you're not in AI, I'm not interested.
Yes.
So I have listed. I've listed closet on the tree. In case we restart Bicep.
We can have a list of all that skills.
Let me just have a look at these numbers and then we can
Okay,
what is missing here.
We'll come back to that. Yeah.
Okay. So anti-aging research is a very interesting field where Indian biotech entrepreneurs should get in, because the billionaires from the IT industry are really don't want to die. So they want to put in money here. So you can really tap into this stream, and excellent amount of funding is going into this. And you have raw talent in India which can work, which can do research on this. And those guys will fund Bill Gates, Melinda Gates Foundation, and all these Jeff Bezos foundations are there. Food technology is something which is going to get revolutionized in the next 5 years. Then we are going to see agri-biotech get revolutionized using AI ML. Probably just by looking at the satellite pictures of the soil, right, which you can outsource from ISRO, you can find out the soil moisture, and you can predict the output, and you can alert the supply chain or maybe alert the farmer. So that's a big business. AI ML combined with agri-BT. In fact, I would like to say that if you can combine AI ML and bioinformatics in any of your processes, and if you can accelerate it by 10x, you have a business. And if you are able to solve the Western world problem here in a cheaper way, you have a business. So you have to figure out how can, or if you can solve the government's problem in a cheaper way, you have a business. So now 99% of the biotech companies whom I'm interacting with are saying that we are willing to implement AI ML in our existing process. It is not just drug discovery. It is not just plant biotechnology, genomics, or genetics. It is everything. So the time has come that the academia takes notice. And like I said, academia is a bigger industry than the biotech startup world. But the biotech startup world in these 11 or 12 fields which I mentioned is going to go boom. It's going to grow explosively. And if the academia can tailor make courses or training programs, or Bicep comes back, or whomsoever, or IBioM contributes, we have a real business from India to the world. So we need to look at that. And so now we'll come to the topic is, where is the current manpower challenges according to what we interact on a daily basis? We are seeing a technical skills mismatch. We do have a list which we can pass on to IBioM. So the students are trained for something else while the industry is expecting something else. And now when they meet, the marriage is not made in heaven, and it becomes like they reject more than they select. And problem happens is, these guys have no clue. They keep saying that I'm not getting a job because there is no scope in the biotech industry, while the biotech industry keeps coming to me saying that I'm not getting a skilled manpower. Where are these guys coming from? Can you get me a skilled guy? Second is absence of data analytical and interpretation skills. You are able to do the experiment. You don't have any idea about the data. You cannot extrapolate. You cannot interpolate. You cannot interpret. And that is where you are teaching too much of theory, but you're not teaching mathematics. Biostatistics is required. It's the need of the hour for our biotech people to learn data interpretation and data analytical skills. Lack of creative thinking and design thinking. Now, this is something, how do you, if I have to say that, how do you combine AI with a lab test? Right now, that's a creative thinking and design thinking problem that needs to be addressed. But is our academia teaching that? And a change in curriculum cannot solve this. This has to be where The startups are the breeding ground, the training ground, agreed, but there has to be some kind of a tie-up so that these guys learn and contribute instead of switching. Because startups are not training institutes, startups are business. And if this business goes down, academia goes down, we have to understand that, because academia is earning more than the biotech startups.
Well, I can't speak for everybody. I can say we've resigned to the fact that we have to train. The problem is when you talk to 8 out of 10 people, 5 out of 10 people, they don't know the basics. Why do you need to sterilize? What temperature do you need to sterilize? What pressure do you need to sterilize? They won't answer that question for a fresher. How do you train somebody who doesn't understand that? See,
true.
For them to get to creative thinking or the technical skills of what they've learned in college,
that itself is missing.
That is still missing. How do you train somebody who has slept through college for 3-4 years?
So, yeah.
See, the way I may be wrong also, the way I see is all the academies are that you are talking about, they are all doing catching up job.
Sorry,
they are all doing catching up job.
Catching up. Right, right.
What is needed
True.
For many years ago,
Yes.
they are doing it. And
Yeah.
for that, I think the West also had the same problem. And now they have pushing STEM education at the school level. So
Correct.
if you want to address this problem, this has to be addressed one step before.
So we cannot have a catch-up game to address a scale-up problem.
Exactly. So we are only catching up. That's all the academies. Sorry to including all the academies. Like, I
Yeah.
can see that because I've also taken people from academies, from Biocon Academy. I know where they stand. Unfortunately, they don't do what we want. Rather, they come and say, this is what I've been taught. How is that useful? It's of no use. I have to retrain them. That's the ground reality. So, and to answer that, if you want to really, when they are entering their college education, if you want to put them in the right perspective, you need to catch them early. And that's where the STEM education comes in.
True, true.
Unless students who are taking science stream and they are given the opportunity to get trained and also to think, this creative thinking and design thinking happens much early. And you need to identify them early. If you really want good skill, see, the question is, you want factory workers or you want thinkers?
Correct.
That's where the difference comes in.
Right, right. So continuing my talk here, yeah, you want to
I have
say
one
something?
question.
Please.
Just clarification. So when you say academies, are you talking about colleges, BSc colleges, or you are talking about academies that train people once they come out of
all of it?
Okay.
I'm talking about all of it. Academia means all of it.
Okay.
And majorly the universities and the training institutes. We all are playing a catch-up game. We are not helping the startups to scale because they are struggling to get the manpower, while the manpower is coming and saying, I'm not getting a job because there is no scope. The truth is, this guy is ready with the job, with the money, but you're not able to take it because you don't have the skill set. Okay.
It sounds like you're picking on universities and education. It's not, in my view, it's not a problem of these institutes alone. It's a cultural problem that we also have to deal with. And how kids are brought up. It starts there on how you think. How is the thinking process? I mean, most of the kids going to college are not serious about it to begin with. How can you bring the moment? I won't go there.
So,
So listen to politics, but the kids also should want to learn.
So the problem begins where they fail in the NEET exam, that's a medical degree exam, and then they enter the biotech sector. They're not entering the biotech sector because they like biology. They're entering because they failed there. So this is a second best option. That's not how biotechnology should be looked at. That's what cultural, what he said. That is where they're entering because they failed there. That's not how.
Why do you think they failed? Why do we fail? I think just let's get one step closer to that. Why do you think we failed there?
Because the number of seats, I'll tell you, when I wrote
No, it's not about NEET. I'm not talking about. People take biotech as a second option, but not that they want to do biotech. But why do we end up in that such a scenario? Where are we missing?
So limited options. The options are limited for somebody who has pursued biology.
I think, see, the problem is I think that's the culture and other things. The curiosity.
Yes, we're not able to spark curiosity.
The kids lack the curiosity, and it is not the kids' problem. It is the society's problem.
True.
We as a society has to address that problem. Where we need to. I'm not saying everybody is going to be the same, but you take 100 students and then you see 10 of them will be curious to ask you questions. When you go and talk to some of the kids in the school, you will see that out of 30 students, 2 will come and ask you and very scared to ask that question also. So that's what happens. So, but we need to groom that. We don't do that at that level. That's where the challenge starts.
Right.
Saying that I want to say something.
Yes. So, see, the curiosity part, what I have experienced is the +2 child, 10 +2 child is more curious than the master's guy. That's what.
Education is a problem.
Yes.
That's why.
No, he's more excited to do new things.
Purpose is a big problem. So
Yes.
talking about the purpose, Dr. Bindu and yes, so one of the things I ask normally a question when they come for interaction, even asking me to, one of the questions everybody asks, particularly parents, is there scope in biotechnology? I said, just please take a walk the entire Sanjay Nagar Road and see what is the biotechnology can start with. For example, he said it's a very dirty country. Okay, water, everything. So first thing I said is once you walk, then come back. Then creative thinking will come there itself. Be very open. And the other thing they ask is, when I ask the student a question, what do you want to become? Sir, I want to be a molecular biologist. But for what? No answer. Okay, I want to drive a car, but where do you want to go? So that has to happen when you induct new students. What do you want to become? Not just I just want to become flow cytometrist. Fine, great. But why is flow cytometry so important for you? Why is nanopore so important for you? Then they will start thinking. Those questions we don't ask. We just take the students admitted, and then so then they will start thinking about what are the level of challenges we have in the country. One of the first things I would do if I was the head of the department is that, take first week, just spend time taking to their hospitals, cancer hospitals, okay, rare disease hospitals, or take them to agricultural lands. Then they will start thinking. Then you start talking about theory. Then show the problem first. Okay, so that's something that I wish to.
So if we show the problem first, they will definitely be interested in pursuing the degree. So coming back, these are the problems which we are looking at: creative thinking, design thinking, imaginative power. So when we teach too much of theory and force them to write practical records, of course the imaginative power goes out of the window. Communication skills, they are able to do the job correctly, but they're not able to communicate it in a way. They're not able to present it. Their interpersonal skills are lacking. Ability to work in a team, like Mr. Ishwaran was saying, that Biocon Academy is training on that. So that's lacking. That needs to be addressed. If they cannot work as a team, how would they perform an experiment? Then ability to lead a team. So these are the few problems which current manpower challenges which we are seeing in the industry, and our companies keep coming back to me saying that, hey, you send this guy, he cannot communicate well. So you send this guy, he cannot interpret well. So these problems we see. Now, stability problem is real, like we discussed in the panel discussion also. Attrition is real, and it's discouraging the freshers to, startups to hire freshers. So this needs to be addressed at the academia level. I know some placement officers who will tie up with the startups, and they will say, if anybody from your company whom I have placed has switched, I'll give you a replacement. Otherwise, don't hire from my college next year. So now this guy is liable, right? And it helps us also. So we connect that placement officer to the startup, and that way, now if they switch, that college will catch hold of it.
How does that help the startup?
What happens is the attrition. See, if suppose they learned in 3 months and they switch the job, now in the entire cycle of training goes again back to scratch one, day one.
Will help, but they just get the next high schooler, that's all.
No, in that case, what happens is they will make sure that this guy doesn't switch without that period, whatever period has been agreed upon initially.
What happens when you
College
hire?
have that power?
They can always,
So
they can always talk to the student. At least you can talk him out. He's your child.
It's mere persuasion.
It's mere persuasion.
we had
You
this.
cannot have any
we're
norms
going.
for that.
No norms. It's understanding.
But the challenge is, if he doesn't have interest, why do you want him to?
Exactly.
And if
See,
he
I
spoils
tell you,
the environment.
when somebody is not interested in the job, I generally let them go.
No,
Because
that's true.
there's no point in having
Holding them.
So going back to this particular point, like we are having this situation, somebody's supposed to join on Monday, the lady is not joining, but she's coming from a business school.
Right.
The business school is blacklisting her. They're not going to promote her as an applicant because it is a black mark on that institute. Because we can't get you a job before you join. You say, I'm changing my mind. You got to be like what he said. Once you have been selected for a position in a company, you have accepted it. You would not be considered for other roles. Now, if you take it, it's even worse. We are never getting your resume again and forwarding it to anybody else. You go there and there's a problem. That's a different story.
No, it works more or less like that, except for the software industry where students get multiple offers. The rest of the places like BPU, you might get just one offer.
Right. No, I was talking about the current arrangement, what's happening to address this. So I know a few placement officers who would do this, that in case somebody leaves from your organization, we will not force that guy to you not to leave. We will give you a replacement from our alumni list. So that's what they do. So that way the startups are secure and the attrition problem is taken care of.
Also, I had a question.
Yes.
That we have the CEOs of startups here. What, according to you, is a decent time for a student, where you are employed to be in your company? How many years?
Decent time for
how many years?
How many years would you expect them to be
in your company?
The first time employment.
So first time is they're actually adding more value in the first year. They're actually a big cost to us. So it's only after the first year when they actually start delivering. So I would say a bare minimum of 2 years is required. First year of training, second year of recouping those costs. These are, at least that's the metric we use internally.
See, if the academy I would have trained
To be with you at least for 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, that's what
With a
we have
minimum
seen.
notice period of 3 months.
Yes, that's
Right.
usually maintained.
Right. But what happens is when freshers don't honor the notice period, that's what I'm talking about. If they do not honor the notice period, as a startup founder, you don't have resources to pursue legal recourse. You cannot run behind that one guy who just left the job. You have a business to run. But that if that starts happening, that it discourages them to hire freshers. That's what I'm coming at. Okay. So moving ahead, Karnataka, I believe, is the catalyst because always Karnataka has been the leader in the biotech sector. And there are more than 80 colleges in Karnataka, 50 only in Bangalore. Okay. There are more than 250 plus biotech courses running in our state. And 10,000 plus life science students are graduating or post-graduating combined in our state every year.
Every year.
Yes. Are we absorbing them? No. So what happens is more of them are utilized in other sectors and we are still struggling to find the right talent. So what if the academia realizes this and realizes that, okay, we need to tailor make courses or skill development programs, or we need to understand what Immunitas needs to hire or what AnaBio needs to hire, what Biocon has a requirement. And what if we could custom make? Let's not change the curriculum because that's an elephant and it has been prescribed by the university. Let's have college level changes which will encourage these startups to hire. And then we reach out to the startup and say, hey, you had this requirement, so we've tailor-made our curriculum, our training in this such a way, he might be a good fit. Let's interview. Let's sit on the table. What if this works? Because let's agree that these 80 biotech colleges are earning more than all the 800 startups which we have in Bengaluru combined.
But
Through admission fees?
if 10,000 is the numbers, man, do you think every year there are so many numbers? Do you think even just not the biotech startups, even generally taking all the biotech companies, do you think we have the bandwidth to employ 10,000 people every year?
No, we don't have.
Then why is there so many coming out?
So that is where the expectation mismatches.
I don't think the government realizes even today with all these things happening, I don't think government still realizes the importance of biotechnology. Okay.
Government did during COVID, after that everybody
That
forgot.
was my next sentence. COVID woke them up and they've gone back to sleep. So they don't see biotech as the ultimate, or at least one of the ultimate sectors that can solve a lot of problems.
I think what happens is the majority of the students, not in biotech, but all domains, end up in IT because there are jobs available.
Because government is not doing enough for PT.
That is where my first slide comes into picture, where I mentioned AI, ML, and bioinformatics can be a big revenue generator for startups. At the same time, big employment generator for companies. For the students. But somewhere academia has to come and take a step forward. Yeah.
His question. I think when she said first 30% of the students are anyway going for higher
studies.
So anyway, 3,000 is out. We are talking about remaining 7,000.
I doubt that. No, I don't think
that's what.
No, this is a combined figure. BTech, BSc.
BSc,
So
BTech,
people
MSc,
obviously do masters.
MTech, PhD. All of them combined, I'm saying 10,000.
So in any case, are we talking about 10,000 graduates coming for an industry job? Is that what we are talking about?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Which means
So
People coming.
10,000
people are
It's the output.
out of their degree,
10,000 jobs.
Correct.
but there's no 10,000 jobs.
I think there are 1,000 jobs per year. Per year on a yearly basis.
Across the
1,000
country.
Yeah, across the country is different. This is we are talking about Karnataka.
Only Karnataka. Now I'll come to that. What you mentioned, I'll come to that. That demand and supply gap. So that doesn't mean that we need to shut down the colleges. That means I have a solution which I have put in the next slide. I'll come to that.
How many are coming out each year?
10,000.
So 10,000 coming in.
Out.
Yes.
Out. Of course, 10,000 is coming in also. Why is that happening? Is because 19 lakh people write the medical entrance exam
And they fail.
and they fail.
They come here.
80,000 get selected. So 18 lakh, 20,000 people get into allied courses. Biotech is one of them, right? So 10,000, that's where. So if startups goes down, academia loses money.
Slow down, slow down.
Yes.
Who are the top group going into? You're saying this is actually B team.
Yes.
Who are the A team?
80.
The medicine.
Medical doctors.
Medical doctors.
Fine, that's good. Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
That's all right.
So now this manpower can be utilized to scale up the startups. But what happens is they're not employable, or they feel that they will be paid higher if they go for a higher education, right? So that is where I would like to be. Since you are from the IT industry, you will see more of BTech guys than the MTech and PhD guys, especially PhD guys you won't see in IT.
We won't see them at all.
Exactly. But why do we have a PhD in biotech? Because the graduate guy is not getting absorbed, so he's jobless. He thinks maybe if I do masters, I'll be employable. The masters guy thinks maybe if I do PhD, I'll be employable. But the result is nothing.
That's the
So-
challenge. We can't even hire PhDs.
Exactly, because they're not employable.
Pay for
by the time they come to PhD, they become overqualified.
Yes, not just overqualified, they lack imagination, communication skills, team skills, and a lot of. Yeah, I will not say that on camera, but so.
Become half mad also.
No, I will not say that on camera, but yeah, this can be seen. We are sitting on a gold mine, especially the startups. If we somehow use AI, ML, bioinformatics, and all other technologies which we saw, and we create products or services for the rest of the world, and utilize this raw talent, we make them employable or whatever way, we have a solution to both sides of the problem, and academia also wins. Because you have 250 courses to shut down if startups stop hiring. And that's happening right now. So academia has to take notice. Moving ahead, I would say IBioM can be a real change maker because we are into policy making, we are helping the government, and of course, universities and colleges can sign MOUs with IBioM. I believe Atria is in the process of doing that. We can help the academia understand the requirement of the industry better and have sessions with the industry leaders so that we develop a TOS, which is training operating system for the startup's requirement. So there can be a specific TOS for AnaBio, there can be a specific TOS for Biotechnica, there can be a specific TOS for different companies, and you choose what TOS you want to pick up, and the company says, this is the TOS I want. And then the student goes for this, trains himself, and then he presents it for the interview. Works, take it, doesn't work, drop it. Okay, so that way academia wins. But here comes a very big challenge that the TOS needs to be, you have to sit with the industry leader, understand what is his expectation. And at the same time, industry leaders need to look at those 12 technologies and think how can we implement this and scale up our companies, become more profitable and employ more people. Solves both sides.
Help me understand how this TOS is different from the quality packs of LSSDC. For example, licenses sector skill development council, they have different quality packs. These quality packs are R&D for quality, for manufacturing, for regulatory.
Correct.
Even supply chain, everything there.
Still, we are not able to solve the problem. Then there must be a problem.
Not probably focused enough for specific ones.
Yes.
The domains that you are talking about is all a 60-foot view.
Okay.
We need to get into 1,000.
Yes.
And we don't want to get there at all because we are very happy seeing for the top.
So I was part of this LSSDC curriculum development. Quality came to me and then I set up. It became yet another certification.
Like people, if you pass the NET exam, SLET exam, or GATE, CSIR, you get into PhD with some leverage. You get a fellowship, so they take you.
So my request is, let's not involve government into this.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not involve government into this. Academy has a problem. Nobody will take admission if you're not able to place. And the industry has a problem. They want to scale. So you sit, the HOD of the college sits with the CEO of the startup, understands what's your requirement, goes back to the professor and say, now create a task for this company and report back to me. Are they trained? The final year students, and then you go back and say the CEO, these guys are trained, take the interview, give us the feedback where we lagged, we go back and reiterate.
Personalized.
Yes, personalized for that particular startup. Let's create tasks.
I'd like to add, in the sense, the academic institutes, at least the kind that I come from, they are moving towards such a
That should be done.
environment,
Exactly.
ecosystem.
Great suggestion. Yeah.
See, conventionally, we used to have this, academia used to have this mindset that, see, it's not my job to train students for a certain industry. So I just give them a certain basic foundation, applied knowledge, and that's my job. But then, since this outcome-based education has started, so since then on, the curriculum development itself is a very meticulous process where you have experts from the industry. We have an industry advisory board. On the board of studies also, you're supposed to have industry experts. So the curriculum tailoring process itself.
So again, you're tailoring for the broad industry, the broad term.
No, going further.
Personalize it.
Yes, going further, then you have a lot of training programs. That is these workshops and a lot of short-term training programs. These are again to be done only in collaboration with industries. So in our institute, like say we had with Himalaya Drug Company, we had with Bristol Myers Squibb, and then also we had with Sartorius, so many such companies. So it's like a mandate that you have to do it with industries. So that's like after the get funding from the institute, you have to do it that way, or else with research institutes.
Agreed, ma'am. Agreed. Agreed.
But the other thing, I'm sorry, I also noticed this. Many times academic institutions, when they want to get their students trained, they expect the startups to take it, but they don't, they for them it is a part of their academic curriculum and they charge for the students.
Yes.
But when they expect us to train, they expect us to train them for free, or sometimes they expect us to pay a stipend.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No, it works that way.
Yeah.
So I'll come to that. Let
me clarify.
Let me finish, then we can continue.
No, let me just quickly clarify that, because you are talking about how the academic institutions are operating. This is the model in which they think that startups are here to support my students and
that won't happen.
That's not going to work.
That won't happen.
See, I would like to tell the model that our institute works on. The institute provides funding
I understood, ma'am.
for workshops, wherein you see we invite experts for both theoretical as well as hands-on sessions, and instead they are paid remuneration.
Who?
The experts who come from the industry.
Companies, we are not interested in.
Companies are not interested in training.
No, what I mean is, it's not like we expect the
What I'm saying is, your professors train, take the feedback, train, and then go back and say, my guy is trained. Now you take the interview and tell me if he's good enough. Otherwise, I'll go reiterate and improve my training program. Create a task for a particular company, like personalized medicine. Create a personalized training program for that particular company and place.
But I think it's going to be impossible for academia to train bunch of students for different industry, because his requirement will be very different than the other person.
Correct,
so
sir.
Therefore,
sir, with due respect, IISc Bangalore is charging 20,000 rupees for MSc course, while the same course, university is charging 25 lakhs for a BTech degree. Right. So it's their business. They need to do it. They've charged 25 lakhs
that's
to the student.
When they take a BTech, they make revenue, but when they need to be trained, they dump it on a startup. And I'll tell you, this is happening from Manipal. They have a 2 years biotherapeutics course.
Sir, let's not take names.
I think everybody knows it. 6 months of coursework they have, and the rest 1.5 years they have to go and spend in a different lab, and they don't pay a single penny to anybody. How is that possible?
What I'm saying is 25 lakhs you're charging to a student for a BTech degree, and then he becomes unemployable. Instead, you sit with a startup, tailor make it. I'm not saying IISc Bangalore. I'm talking about private colleges which are making money.
Anyway, I think we can project a statement or some sort of a submission to everyone concerned about this disparity that we have. Like what he said, 25 lakhs for a student to be admitted, but when the student wants to get trained, and they expect stipend from the startups to give the student. When the startups themselves are struggling. But these days there are many students who approach me, their parents approach me, so money is not a problem. Just get them trained if possible. Even that is the thing. Okay,
Still,
but
I have to put my time and
I
resource.
know. We know the understand. We know the problem. So we need to address it collectively, maybe through interaction with academia
and the government.
You got a good view of this now,
Yeah.
because we've written in the draft MOU. I think when you go back and read it, I think some of this makes good sense.
Okay,
So if we can work.
I just have 2 to 3 slides. Let me just finish it, and then we can continue our networking and discussion.
Okay, finish it.
Yes. So what I suggest is IBioM can be the catalyst and the change maker. Karnataka is the hotbed of biotech. Let's accept that. My point here is, let's make our biotech graduates employable first. Instead of pushing them for post-graduation, PhD, and then where they start lacking creative imagination, if the graduate of IT is employable by the IT industry, why a biotech graduate is not? Because that skill set is lacking and the startup is not able to absorb. So let's think at that level, because if we have charged this guy 25 lakhs, it's our responsibility to make sure that he is delivered the right skill set so that he can be employed by the startup. That's a simple bottom line I would like to add. 2 more slides probably. So need of the hour is skill enhancement, job-oriented exposure. Probably bioentrepreneurship cells should be there in the academia to encourage more startups to come up. And my 5 years prediction is this gap will widen more and more as companies get more tech savvy, because if this guy goes for a AI ML and your guy is not ready for a CRISPR also, or a molecular biology technique, is going to be a big problem. So the biotech industry especially startups will suffer due to lack of stable technical manpower to meet the future demand. And that is where they will say, I will bring in from Germany. I don't want from India. While the Indian guy paid 25 lakhs and he's like, why I'm not getting job? So this is a real problem which needs to be addressed. And colleges must take note. Let's make our biotech graduates employable. Placements will follow and the startups will be happy. This is where I would like to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In the skill set, did you include the 7 skills?
I've not included any skill. We have the list.
The 11th.
No, I have not included that.
That is one thing that.
That's what I might have missed.
Therapy is going to be a.
Yes, true.
Cell and gene therapy.
Cell and gene therapy.
Yes.
How do you spell that? The papaya-based drink is giving 50% off on whoever.
Okay.
250 rupees only. We are normally
Right.
500. Please.
So for the online audience, thank you so much for joining. We would like to conclude. I think. Yes, you can.
It's available on Amazon if anybody is interested.
Probably you can conclude.
Okay, I think, thank you, Shekhar. Please give him another big hand. He's done a lot of preparation. I think he's put a finger on the exact challenge that we all have. So we need to take it forward, and any other suggestions you may have as you drive back home, please send it to us, and we'll prepare some sort of a report and then submit it to all of you. And if there are any other additions, we can add that. So again, my main thing is, if the government is not serious, then we're going to be struggling. But at least for the TOS system seems a good way out, at least for helping each other. So thank you, Shekhar. I'm going to give this in one hand and take it back in another hand because you're a trustee.
Trustees cannot accept anything.
So thank you, Bitan. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we don't have any bigger gifts to give. Hopefully we'll reach the stage where we can give a crystal ball or something. No, it's okay. Just as a
few good candidates.
Thank you. No, as a memory, they always go back, to the certain, some of the big meetings I had where things changed, right? In Boston or in California. Salima, what is the thing with PBR 322 came that the two guys, actually that's where the genetic engineering started, right? When they first cloned the PBR 322 plasmid. So they go back to the name of that meeting. So hopefully this meeting will be referred to, Asilomar meeting. So, okay, I hope you all learned something from this, and then next time, please participate. Ma'am has agreed to host our meeting. It will be.
Definitely in principle, it's just a wee bit of processing.
Yes.
Through our,
Yeah, suggest the date and then.
And the timing. aspect.
So if it is Friday, 3 o'clock onwards.
Yes.
Okay, if
That
it is
should work for us.
3 o'clock onwards, if it is a Friday, it's Saturday, first half of the day. So we'll promote that to the members and depending on what they say. So again, thank you, Divya, for this lovely conference room. Very cozy. We all are very close to each other now. So, and please give a big hand to Thomas for him to. I've tried his many different soft drinks, which were very, very nice. And please get one of those, 250 rupees only, and you can make a cocktail. He just suggested, he asked me, "So do you drink beer?" I said, "Maybe sometimes." Then when you have a mug of beer, add 3 drops of this, it will taste heaven. It's all right. Oh, so 3 spoons, yeah. So all the online audience here, thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope you got something out of this interactive session that we had. And we look forward you to participate in the next meeting, which is going to be held more or less on 3rd week of month of June, hopefully in MS Ramaiah College, hosted by Dr. Bindu and her colleagues and the students. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much. There is, Skanda.